6 o'clock, I'll call the County Board of Supervisors to order. Hopefully all of you are checked in for roll call. And at this time, we'd ask that you would remove your hats, and those of you please stand, and we'll have the presentation of the flags and the Pledge of Allegiance.
This evening, the Winnebago County Board would like to take a moment to honor the veterans who served our nation. Not only do we have a rich history of county residents serving in all branches of the armed forces, but we also have unit representation from the Wisconsin National Guard, the U.S. Army Reserves, and the ROTC in our county as well. Supervisors, please post the colors. We are about to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance. It is customary to rise, raise your right hand over your heart. It is also allowable for veterans to salute if they so desire. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Supervisors, please retire the colors.
Thank you. Supervisor Powers.
O Judge of the nations, we remember before you with grateful hearts the men and women of our country who, in the day of decision, ventured much for the liberties we now enjoy. Grant that we may not rest until all the people of this land share the benefits of true freedom and gladly accept its disciplines. Creator of all things, lover of all humankind, we give thanks for the fruits of the earth in their season and the labors of those who harvest them. May we be faithful stewards of the bounty of our land, for the provision of our necessities and the relief of all who are in need. And we remember with honor and admiration President Abraham Lincoln, who declared in 1863 that our nation would show gratitude to our Creator by declaring Thanksgiving Day as a national holiday. Amen.
I want to thank the supervisors that stood the presented the flags and said the Pledge of Allegiance. This was going to be a little bit more, although this was very nice. But because of the shutdown of the government, the people that were supposed to come this evening and do it, they weren't allowed to go out yet. So that just goes to show you the shutdown of the government also affected that. But I thank Supervisor Patterson, Supervisor Nelson, and Supervisor Hintz for taking part and taking hold of this for us. Okay. Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will move to adopt tonight's agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for this evening's agenda to be adopted. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. At this time, we'll have public comment. If you wish to speak to the board this evening, though, we ask you to fill out the paper with your name and address in back. Sometimes when you're speaking, you're more than welcome to, but sometimes the clerk's office up here can't catch the correct name and spelling in that, so that's why we ask that. Time will be allowed for people to present to express their opinions on any resolution or ordinance that appears on the agenda, as well as any matter over which this body has jurisdiction. Pursuant to Rule 6.4, Rules of the Winnebago County Board of Supervisors, the County Board Chair shall limit all public comments to 2 minutes. So if anyone would like to come forward, state your name and address. Go to one of the mics.
Matt Olson, Chairman for the Town of Winchester, 8303 Sawby Road, Larson, Wisconsin. I would first like to recognize the County Board for the positive step forward with the approval of the new Chapter 27 Shoreland Zoning Ordinance at the October 21st meeting. The new regulation not only brings the county into compliance with state statute, but also sets the stage for a cooperative relationship between the towns and the county, which is certain to benefit and better serve property owners countywide. Since the passage of the Shoreland Ordinance, there have been many discussions relating to its implementation and the ability of towns to administer general zoning in shoreland areas. The town of Winchester maintains its position that the 11 Winnebago County towns that have followed the statutory process to administer general zoning already have the tools needed to exercise their authority. However, we also recognize that the recent rhetoric has resulted in confusion for some towns. As such, the town of Winchester supports the resolution amending the effective date for the Chapter 27 Shoreland Zoning Ordinance to April 1st, 2026. The delay will allow time for towns to organize their systems and procedures and to ensure a smooth implementation process. Again, on behalf of the town of Winchester, I would like to thank the county board for taking action to improve the systems that govern our constituents. We look forward to working together. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak?
Good evening. Members of the county board, county executive Hintz. I have come to support, my name is Mike Bonertz, and I live at 366 Namath Street in Menasha. I've come to support the resolution regarding the revolving loan fund that is on your agenda this evening. I am currently retired, but for 47 years, I worked for Advocap. And during that time, Advocap had a revolving loan fund, and it was used to help low to moderate income people to become homeowners. And well over 500 people during my time there became homeowners as a result of that. The beauty of a revolving loan fund is after some period of time, it is repaid. And you get to do it again for the same kinds of folks, and so your revolving loan fund would have that same feature. And I would strongly encourage your support of that resolution. So, thank you.
Good evening. I'm Patty Julius. My address is 141 Andrew Avenue in Neenah, and I'm here again this month. I was here last month too to speak regarding the elevator situation at Parkview. As you know, last month I was here as an advocate for residents, families, volunteers, and staff at Parkview. And while much of the words said last month, many people are still wondering, it's coming up, how is the elevator situation going to get resolved at Parkview? Yes, I understand it takes time for a part to arrive for fixing. What's to say a part arrives, then elevator part by the business tries replacing, and then another piece breaks down. And then we have to start over again, needing to use unsafe backup elevator that they have, where the doors aren't closing properly or on the resident because there is a no hold button in place. So how can this be resolved? And that's why we need to find staff members for assistance to hold the door open so the doors do not push on the resident's feet or chair. And this was all stated too at the last meeting. I know it has been stated by county representatives that there is no money to replace a new elevator. So is there any way Winnebago County would be able to ask our Wisconsin state for a grant, maybe to keep our residents, staff, and everyone safe? I also wanted to share a situation last week in our activity room was full for the music program. And on our way back to the room, and an elevator in front of with residents, a fire code was called. And so comments made by families, people around, volunteers, why do they have to call this now? This is kind of dumb to call this now with all these people here. Well, I turned and I looked and I said, no, I said, if they need to, I said, all the people here are at Parkview. I said, look at the staff. Everyone has been trained so well in how to guide everyone for a
Time, ma'am.
situation. Oh, I'm sorry. Can I just hold this up? This
Sure.
is the situation I was talking about when it's fixed for the last 2 weeks at least. The top button has always been on the elevator. This morning went and the bottom button was totally out. And so I just wanted to bring a picture stating in here what I said, how we have to start all over again when we do go downstairs from upstairs. Thank you. And I also have, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, I do have pictures from all the way through of different signs that were put up and pictures of residents trying to get through. So thank you, everyone.
Good evening. I'm Tricia Rothermouth, President and CEO for Greater Oshkosh Economic Development Corporation. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity to talk tonight, and I'm also hopeful that you all received the letter that I sent out yesterday. I'm, of course, in support of the Winnebago County Housing Revolving Loan Fund. Last year, in preparation for our 5-year strategic plan, we interviewed over 80 businesses and stakeholders in our organization, and one of the common themes that did come out was housing affordability and housing availability. Local employers across all different industries have identified that this is one of the challenges when they're trying to attract and retain talent in the workforce that we need in our region. For more than 15 years, the Midwest has lagged behind the necessary inventory that we've needed for housing growth. That's how it is here in Winnebago County as well. It's just a trend that we've seen, and we now need to overcome that. Today, things like rising costs, limited shovel-ready lots, financing gaps, and some of the regulatory hurdles have really created a condition that the private sector is struggling to now overcome that challenge. That's where a housing revolving loan fund can come into and make a meaningful difference. So in my mind, this RLF is practical, it's fiscally responsible, and it's self-sustaining, which is a key, which is a great program. How many times we have programs like that, right? But this accessible financing will fill the gap that we need to help attract, not just to get the houses built, but also to attract the developers here that can make a meaningful impact on that housing lack that we have. And in my mind, a program like this is also important because it doesn't just address the housing shortage. Every home that we build all that net new construction expands our tax base. So not only are we providing houses, we're also supporting schools, infrastructure, public safety, long-term stability for our county. So a public-private partnership aligns perfectly with what our organization aims to do, and it will foster collaborative and forward-looking solutions. So we ask you to support this, and we are excited to see what we can do to impact housing in our region.
Hello, my name is Jill Fritsch. I live at 2116 Meadow Green Drive in Neenah, Wisconsin. I was here last month with Patty Julius talking about the broken elevator at Parkview Health Center also. I know that sometimes it takes a paper trail to get things done, so that's what I did. So from our last meeting, I did call Parkview Health Center, talk with the maintenance supervisor, Tony, also Mike Elder and Lindsay. So the meeting on 10/27/25, the elevator was broken. 10/28/25, elevator broken. 10/29/25, elevator broken. 10/30/25, elevator broken. 10/31, elevator broken. 11/1, elevator broken. 11/2, elevator broken. 11/3, elevator broken. 11/4, elevator moves, but button is broke. You have to make do. 11/5, elevators broke. Button works. You have to make do. 11/6/25, elevator moves, button is broken, you have to make do. 11/7/25, elevator moves, but button is broken, you have to make do. 11/8/25, elevator moves, but button is broken, you gotta make do. 11/9, elevator moves, but button is broken, make do. 11/10, elevator moves, button is broken, make do. 11/11, elevator moves, button is broken, make do. 11/12, elevator moves, button is broken. You have to place something in it to make it move, a pen or a finger. 11/13, elevator moves, button is broken. 11/14, elevator moves, but button is broken. 11/15, elevator moves, button is broken. 11/16, elevator moves, button is broken. 11/17, elevator moves, button is broken. Today, 11/18, elevator moves, button is still broken. Although when I called at 2:50, they said the elevator was fully functioning, but an in-person contact confirms that the elevator is moving, but the button is broken and you gotta make do. A lot of options I think could be thought of, but I got 7 seconds left, so I'll be back next month with more tracking.
Hi, I'm Katie Harder. I'm the zoning administrator for Town of Winnebago. I reside at 6375 Dowling Road. I'm here to speak about Resolution 0206-112025, the shoreland zoning in the towns. Town of Winnebago is in favor of this resolution extending the deadline. We are not prepared for a November 21st start date for Town of or for town general zoning. We do not have the tools in place to be able to take that over on November 21st, so we are in support of extending that deadline, or extending that date to April. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tom Simon, Executive Director of Habitat for Humanity of Oshkosh, 2559 Badger Avenue in Oshkosh. I'm here tonight to be one of the people speaking in favor of the resolution to approve the revolving loan fund for home developments in our region. I've spoken to this county board 2 or 3 times over the last 2 to 3 years. I too am in support of building more starter housing. Obviously, in my world, we work with those people. I will tell you, in this last month, we had 36 families apply to build with Habitat for 4 homes that we could build. All of you are aware of, as employers, the difficulty of getting employees. I can tell you from the personal that I can support what those have said tonight. People are saying, I can't move there. There's no place to live. There are so many things that we need to work on, and I thank you for working on making the processes more uniform, more consistent on building. I thank all those that are helping to support affordable housing. One other piece of the puzzle, and you have a chance to act on it tonight, is the financing. And you should see the financing coming off the interest of the Spirit funds, not the funds themselves. As others said, a revolving loan fund that can be used again and again. And I tell you, I speak for myself as in the private sector as a builder, and for others that I have talked to. We want to build more, but we need the access to capital, and we need a tool that we can leverage again and again. I talk to private donors. When I tell them I have the financing lined up, then they believe their gift can be used. We are unique as builders. We can sell the home at the end of the process, and that loan can be repaid. I beg you tonight, vote in favor of the revolving loan fund. And I will tell you this, it's an investment that I have the proof. These homes will be used and lived in by 5 to 7 families in the course of their existence. It's not just today, it's for generations to come. Thank you.
Good evening. Brian Nill, 5156 David Drive. I think over the last couple of years, I've met with some of you folks in the IDB meeting and the Spirit or ARPA fund meeting where some of this has been discussed about the revolving loan fund, and at that time expressed some concerns. Everybody says there's this housing shortage, and the study you have says that, but it also says we could have a housing glut in a few years, so I'm not sure it's a for sure thing. And yes, it may be interest-free money and it may be revolving, but it seems to be an awful lot of details that are lacking as to how this will actually be implemented depending upon who submits proposals and how, and what kind of oversight this body may or may not have as to what's done with those funds. If it's truly done to build generational wealth like was first talked about, there's certainly no reason to be opposed to it. If you can truly make sure that's what it's used for and that people are actually going to get affordable housing and it's going to benefit the people as opposed to just grabbing a bunch of land and making it easier for people to throw up houses and make a profit. And that's a hard task to try to develop a plan that actually shows that outcome that's desired. I recognize that's a challenge. We talk about trying to get more taxable income for the county and net growth. And that works, except many of these projects are done through TIF or TID districts where that money doesn't go to the county or the school districts, and it's retained by the municipality. So if you're going to do a program like this, I would hope that you have some controls that it actually does benefit the county and the county taxpayers as well. So with that, I would hope you would ask for details, scrutinize it, and make sure it is truly a program that's going to build the generational wealth and truly generate affordable housing. Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience? Is there anyone else? Is there anyone on Zoom? That'll put an end to the open forum then. Next, we'll have communications from the colony clerk.
Good evening, everyone. We have a lot of correspondence tonight for you. On your desks and in the packets were letters of support for the HELP program, letters from townships or municipalities about amending the shoreline zoning ordinance, letters of support for the Winnebago County's revolving loan fund for housing development. We do have 5 petitions that will all go to the Planning and Zoning Committee. The first one is from Paul Dufek to rezone from A2 to R2 in the town of Amro. The second one is from Jeffrey and Rachel Jensen in the town of Winnebago to rezone from I1 to A2. The third one is from Andrew Wirch in the town of Amro to rezone from I2 to A2. Fourth one is from Benjamin Clausen in the town of Wolf River to rezone from A2 to R1. And the fifth one is from Anne Marie Burns for the, it's a trustee in the town of Black Wolf, rezoning from R1 to A2. Also on your desk tonight is a packet As you all know, you'll be running for reelection in April if you are. So the packet is on your desk. There is also, if you're choosing not to run, there's a non-candidacy form that has to be back in my office by December 26th. The other papers, you can bring in your declaration of candidacy and the campaign registration at any time now. Your nomination papers cannot be signed until December 1st or after. And then they have to be turned in by January 6th at 5:00 p.m. I don't know what else, I don't remember what else I put up there. Is that? Oh, and then if you have not responded for the Christmas party yet, please do so by Friday. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the committees, commissions, and boards. Is there anyone wishing to speak this evening? Vice Chairman Fari.
I want to take this opportunity to advise the board, but not only my constituents in District 30, so I'm doing this publicly. I will not be seeking another term on this board, which would be my 13th term. It is my intention to retire, so I want to announce that publicly. So those in District 30 who are interested in pursuing the position of county supervisor certainly follow the procedure that was defined by the clerk. And let's hope we've got several people that will be interested in the supervisor's position for District 30. So thank you.
Thank you for all your years of service.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Supervisor Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to make a brief announcement with regard to the County Veterans Service Commission. We will be moving our meeting, at least temporarily, to Parkview instead of being out at the Coughlin Center. So again, our meeting times are, we are the 11 o'clock on the second Thursday of the month, but this next month we are planning on meeting at Parkview instead of Coughlin. That's all I have. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Supervisor Hintz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to state that with the Facilities Committee, with us changing our meetings to the fourth week of the month, we have run up against the budget. Now we're running up against Thanksgiving this month. We're running up against Christmas next month. Last month, we did not have much on our agenda, so we said we were going to move everything to this month. Well, now we have decided to move our November and December meetings together because we, again, don't have very much on the agenda. So our meeting will be on December 9th at 3:30 p.m. at the Facilities Building. Just wanted to get that out there so everybody was aware, and it was stated publicly well in advance of our meeting. I know the clerk's aware of that, and I know Mike's aware of that, and everybody else. I just want to make sure all of you understood. So if anything does happen to come up for our next facilities meeting that you're interested in, it will be on the 9th at 3:30 p.m. at the Facilities Building on Knapp Street. Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to speak? Not seeing any hands or any names. We'll go to the county executive's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, everyone. I'll try to get to the bottom of it. I just wanted to speak briefly. I know as of last Wednesday, the 12th, we had an update that the elevator was working at Parkview. I don't want to second guess any of the comments we heard tonight, but we'll try to get verification of that, but both from Parkview and from facilities. You know, I want all of you to be reassured that we're doing everything possible, and as I know, we were told last week the elevator was functioning. Briefly, I don't have any immediate updates on UW Fox, but always want to update things. We've been going down a three-pronged path. We've taken through some interested partners on the campus. We've been outlining, working with somebody who had been advising on the Thrivent development, doing a community visioning redevelopment process that would be part of an RFP. and trying to reopen the campus for community use. And sometimes on working on these different things can be in conflict. The goal remains a redevelopment project that generates new tax base, preserves the community assets, and provides added value through jobs, education, training, or entrepreneurship. And I hope to have a more detailed update in December. But I just want to say I've been encouraged by some of the unexpected, more recent interest. And again, hope to have a more detailed update in December. In the last month, we've had two major long-term projects come to a conclusion. First, on October 30th, we had a ribbon cutting out at the Wacaw Dam to celebrate the improvements made at the park. Those of you that have been on the board for a while know that this is something that was started more than probably a decade ago. I want to thank Parks Director Adam Briest and Parks Commission Chair Karen Powers for their work on this project. It was really a beautiful day out there. I know we had a number of other supervisors and commissioners and good media attention on as well. On the 62-degree Friday after school, I took my kids out there for a walk around the pond. And I think, for probably an underutilized, underappreciated part of western Winnebago County, I think the enhancements are going to make it even better. There's additional fishing piers. They've put a lot of erosion control measures in there. We saw people biking and using the hiking trails, and it's just a really cool spot. It looks nothing like it did when I first took my kids there during COVID 5 years ago. And then on November 4th, I joined Land and Water Conservation Director Chad Casper in welcoming members, and Supervisor Nelson, who took us out on the boat, and along with the media, to tour the Winneconne Breakwall. Despite the brisk November winds, we had two television crews climbing aboard Chad's boat, determined to capture the breakwall up close in its final stages of construction, a testament to both the resilience of the project and a commitment of those who came to witness it. And I think we always want to highlight some of the work that maybe people aren't aware that the county does, but in this case also the value of the work, because the funding that was approved by the county was, roughly like 35% of the total project, which included private funding, federal funding, I think, state funding, and again, improves natural habitat, shoreland erosion, water quality, and I think by continuing to highlight these projects, hopefully creates future opportunities and demonstrates the work that our county staff and that all of you are doing to be, looking forward at conservation, but also being good stewards of our taxpayer resources. That was those. And then shoreland zoning. Before you tonight is the motion to amend the previously adopted resolution that would delay implementation of the new shoreland zoning ordinance until April 1st. Want to thank Chairman Egan and Supervisor Miller for bringing the motion forward tonight that brings the ordinance in line with the timeline that I think we were requesting last month. It's an important correction to make so that the change is so that all of the towns impacted are able to implement it on a proper timeline. As was mentioned earlier, during the last month, staff have met with town chairs, attorneys, zoning administrators, attended some town board meetings and town planning meetings. And there's near unanimous consent that the 21st was going to be unworkable and that April 1st is aggressive but could be an attainable date. I think you have formal letters tonight from the town of Utica requesting a 6-month delay, the town of Rushford requesting 120 days, 4 months. Poygan Zoning Board has said they'll need potentially till the end of May. Winneconne's Planning Commission recommended that Winneconne remain under county general zoning in the shoreland area because of the amount of added work it might place on them. I think you've heard tonight from Katie Harder from the town of Winneconne, from Matt Olson, the town of Winchester, supporting the motion tonight to at least delay things from the 21st to April 1st. So again, I appreciate Chairman Egan and Supervisor Miller for bringing this back with the delayed implementation date, and hope we can enact this and have everyone get working, on the work that needs to get done to comply and get town general zoning in place for those that want it in the shoreland. Lastly, want to discuss the revolving loan fund and also mentioned the Spirit Fund and the master plan. We've got a couple of things coming together here tonight, and I wanted to provide an update to the board on the Spirit Fund and the master plan. I spoke to Chairman Egan, my co-chair on the ARPA Strategies and Outcomes Commission, and Supervisor Hinz, chair of the Facilities Committee. And given some of the feedback from the board, I think in individual and in recent meetings, we're going to hold an ARPA Commission meeting in December where we will propose allocating the remainder of the Spirit Fund dollars to a master plan phase 1. Concurrently, the Facilities Committee will begin deliberations on a master facilities plan with an implementable phases of construction for the board to consider in the coming months and can chart a path for funding in the 2027 capital budget. So I think what we're talking about is if we can identify what some of the first projects we would like to do in a master plan and use some of the Spirit Fund resources to approve the design phase of it, we can enter the 2027 capital budget with the goal of funding it. And this board can be the board that says we're not going to kick the can down the road and continue to punt those decisions into the future. I think we all know we're not going to fix this in 2 years, 4 years. It's going to be, can we start on this and do it in phases with a bonding schedule that works? And I know we had some discussion of that from many of you and from Director Kaiser at the October board meeting when we were talking about the $28 million bonding resolution about some of the financing that we're going to have to consider to be able to implement some of the master plan items. But I wanted to get that out there because I think there's been questions about how we're going to use some of the Spirit Fund money, and also, when are we going to start seeing how we want to address some of the master plan items. So wanted to call those attention just because of the feedback and discussions also evolving the revolving loan program. The capital needs of the county are large, and we need to address it with more than a series of capital maintenance projects. And again, I think we can be the board that doesn't kick these projects down the line and continue to waste taxpayer dollars on maintenance and inefficient space. During the campaign last spring when I was running for executive, I can tell you that every forum involved questions about what the county should be doing about our housing shortages and the negative impact that this shortage has on our communities. And that made sense given the national and localized impact of the housing crisis, not to mention that the board was in the process of passing a strategic plan with housing as one of the 5 pillars, and had identified a large gap in the comprehensive plan for county housing infrastructure. I've been familiar with housing initiatives in Sheboygan County and Jefferson County and their use of ARPA dollars in spurring those programs. And then Executive Damel had talked about a proposed revolving loan fund he had been working on with Supervisor Forsetto and Lou Shearer. And I thought that sounded like a flexible, effective, and reasonable proposal to provide the support our communities need. And when I took office, this was one of the things Lou prompted me to continue working on right away. And this is the idea rooted in the comprehensive plan and strategic plan that has been vetted by our community partners. You have letters from municipalities like Oshkosh, Neenah, Menasha, the village of Winnebago, all supporting the revolving loan fund effort. You also have a letter from Go EDC, and you heard Tricia speak earlier. The letter is co-signed by 33 community leaders. This is a project that fits the plans laid out by the board and the needs of our community. In June, we took the idea to the Industrial Development Board, and they committed $1 million to the project. The ARPA Commission considered it and recommended the $3.5 million in interest earned be used for this. Now, I know we have a lot of materials. You guys got inundated on this proposal, but one of them that should have been provided on your desk would have been the FAQ, where we tried to address a lot of the questions we've been getting in advance that have been raised by a lot of you. And I'm going to also invite Lou Shear, our housing specialist, to go and try to go through just a couple of slides in anticipation of some of those questions before you guys take the item up. But I just want to remind you, the revolving loan is what it is. The money goes out and it comes back, when it's paid off with interest, so we can recycle this funding for multiple projects in future years. If we evaluate the program and determine it to be ineffective, it's something that we could end and utilize the funding for other county needs. For I know, because for some of you who said, well, I'm not opposed to it, I want to use it for capital items, just know that it doesn't have to be, one way or the other. That's why I mentioned that I'd like to move forward with the ARPA funding for the capital projects. And with that, I'll turn it over to Lou for a bit, and then we can take some questions.
This isn't the presentation. He invited her up. He asked me before if he could invite her up because he didn't have all the answers. Some of this goes back to our previous county executive. If you remember right, some of this was given before, and some of these have never seen this. And I agree with you, and we had talked about that. And so I am going to let her. She only has so long to give this presentation, but I am going to let her give this short one.
And I will keep it short. Thank you. My name is Lou Shear. I'm your housing grant specialist. Tonight I'd like to tell you a little bit more about the proposed revolving loan fund. Next slide, please. As you just mentioned, the board has committed the county's intent to increase net new construction through two documents you have previously approved. First, in your comprehensive plan under goals and objectives about housing, this is the quote that spells out what the county commits to do. When it was written in 2016, no one knew what the opportunities would actually be. But here we have ARPA, and it's certainly an appropriate fund to be used for housing development. In the county's strategic plan, Pillar 2, we have agreed to encourage public and private housing partnerships, working with municipalities, developers, nonprofits, and local agencies to implement innovative housing solutions. A number of our local municipalities have been working on their commitment to increase new housing construction by updating their planning and zoning ordinance and setting aside funds to encourage development of housing in their own communities. Menasha, Neenah, Amra, and Oshkosh, to name some, have all done their own housing studies, specifically the types of housing that they will need, the income limits who can afford them, and the number of units they'd like to build in their communities. We believe Winnebago County should be a partner with these efforts to increase net new construction throughout the county. Next slide. The housing piece also goes on to say that the county is known, it's making a difference in housing when a greater variety of housing options are available. The way we will measure the success is to be outlined as included in the strategic plan, first by measuring the availability of housing in different price points, and secondly, by tracking the number of new housing units built and breaking down who they are affordable to, as well as the workforce housing specifically. The resolution is specific in giving priority to helping households who earn at or below 140% of county median income. I would suggest that not only a housing is a specific pillar in the Winnebago County strategic plan, but housing is also a contributing factor to the success of the economic development pillar and the quality of life pillar for Winnebago County, as supported by some of the letters that we heard tonight and in favor of the loan program and public comments that were made. Therefore, this program would actually make an impact on 3 of the 5 of the strategic plan pillars. When ARPA funds came out in 2021, many cities and counties across the U.S. used the funds to further affordable housing, including development and repair, operations of affordable housing and services, or programs to increase long-term housing security. That's a quote from the rules that were made. This includes pre-development costs and filling gaps left by other funding sources. The City of Appleton provided, and Outagamie County provided $1 million to a 100-unit apartment building and $500,000 to Pillars, their area homeless shelter. The City of Milwaukee, Dane County, City of Madison, Eau Claire, La Crosse, and other cities across Wisconsin and the U.S. also did the same thing. Most of these awards were made in the form of grants. Grants are wonderful, but they only help one single project. Winnebago County started looking at ways that they could use its Spirit funds to help create housing in any of its municipalities, with preference, again, given to those who earn 140% of CMI or less. One of the things we learned is that when the county decided what type of housing they was going to build, it didn't necessarily meet the needs of the community. I'll specifically speak to Sheboygan County. They decided they wanted to invest in workforce housing, but many of the people who showed up to buy the houses were retired. And they actually, they learned that they were allowing retirees to move into the new homes, and then that made homes available to people who wanted to move into Sheboygan, and they've had to pivot their expectations. Another example of being flexible is in Jefferson County. They were providing revolving loan funds to both home ownership opportunities as well as rental properties, with different terms and conditions for both types of these projects. Communities who have done their housing studies and who have adapted their zoning and planning are best suited to meet the needs of their communities. Some of our communities, for example, are landlocked and may not be able to create 150 units of single-family home subdivision, but they may have adjusted their ordinances to meet their housing needs in other ways, including higher density developments, creating the missing middle model of housing, for example. Please note that we know that these funds are not meant to be used for all new construction, but they will benefit projects that show a gap in their financing stack due to their efforts to become affordable by more of the population. Flexibility is the key. The application needs to be very specific and should include the information about the business and the borrower's details and experience, the project description, planning and zoning approvals, first mortgage information, as well as the loan request amount, what matching funds they're bringing to the table, how they're going to use the proceeds, what collateral they're going to put into place, and the job creation and retention plans if appropriate. These loans will be secured by a loan and a lien, and repayment terms will be determined as agreed upon prior to any awards made. Deed restrictions need to be in place to prevent flipping and short-term rental options. As I stated before, the application will show proof that the project is clear of all hurdles for land use and primary financing, with the planning and zoning and financial being previously approved. The advisory team and its expert membership, meaning that the people on the advisory board will have some expertise, will be given the information to help ensure the viability of the project for the long term. Hiring a third-party nonprofit brings housing development and finance experts along with the county appointees to the advisory board. This ensures transparency, fairness, and avoids perception of bias. The nonprofit remains accountable to the board and its funding committees by reporting its progress every 6 months. That's it.
Thank you. I know I just had 2 more points. I know we had a robust discussion about the applicability of this project to the standards set out by the ARPA program and the resolution creating the Spirit Fund. And I just wanted to ask Finance Director Paul Geiser to weigh in here because he's been with this process the entire journey and had a good grasp of the rules at the ARPA Commission meeting. So if you could just speak to, whether the revolving loan project utilizing the Spirit funds is a allowable use.
I looked through the framework for the ARPA thing, and the first point to be made are legacy projects are to be ones that can be looked at multi-generational and improve the quality of life in Winnebago County. That definitely hits on this point. One-time funds projects require ongoing future costs to mitigate as much as possible to achieve the requirement. Projects should be generally capital in nature. Revolving funds specifically called out in this one, or endowments. The third one is geographical in nature, which is Winnebago County for all of the municipalities. The last one is another pillar of quality of life. Winnebago County's people are important resource. Projects which improve the quality of life, including enhancements to tourism, health, human services, are appropriate. The well-being of our citizens and recruitment, maintain workforce, which means also developing housing needs for them to be able to live here. So them are 4 of the points in the framework that was developed almost 3 years ago, which revolving loan fund is hitting on that mark.
Okay, thank you. Just lastly, I know there might be some questions remaining. There might be some skepticism. But I ask that we, take some time to be inquisitive and curious to explore tonight's question. Our community's been asking for more county involvement in housing. You'll all be asked about housing over the next 4 months if you seek reelection. And we have a community vetted program in line with the board adopted strategic plan and comprehensive plan in front of us tonight. And so, you've got something to talk about, proactive to discuss about how you work to address something in line with what you all adopted in terms of a strategic plan, but also that you've worked on to address what constituents are asking for. I want to appreciate the chair's flexibility and discretion in giving us the opportunity to discuss, present tonight, and we're open to take any questions.
Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Some of you may know a statement that I'm going to make. There was a podcaster that I used to listen to, and one of the things that he would say very often is self-praise stinks, and I agree with that. Sadly, I'm going to violate that because now this has entered my arena. I have been a real estate developer, so I can add some expertise in this. I do have some questions on what's before us right now. If we're looking at page 137 of our packet, it's in the policy discussion. It says the organization responsible for the day-to-day management of the loan program will work in partnership with an advisory board composed of some ARPA Strategy Outcomes Commission, members of the IDB board, and the county staff. Before I vote on this, I want to know exactly who those people are, what percentage of the votes in those three categories they have. Are they equal votes? Do we have an overriding vote? Is it like a committee of 5, 7? Tell me exactly how that works. And I need total clarification on who the nonprofit organization is. That's just the start.
Do you want to ask all your questions, or you want to go one at a time?
Well, you may answer some.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think as you see, the proposal before you indicates that the county will issue a request for proposal to select a qualified nonprofit to serve as the fund's administrator. It outlines who will make up that board that will govern that nonprofit.
Let me make sure I understand. So we don't know exactly who the nonprofit is. Why would I release money to an organization that I don't know who it is yet and what they're comprised of?
When we pass an ordinance or legislation, do we actually name who the people are?
We know where the money's going. I want to know who the nonprofit is. Who is the nonprofit that's going to get release of this money?
When you pass a capital project for a highway project, do you know the company who's going to pave the roads?
I would suggest that that our highway department certainly knows.
Well, in this case, I mean, wouldn't we also be making the same sort of scrutiny and decision?
I want to know who the nonprofit is. Well, then let me ask this. Who's in the running? What nonprofits are being considered right now? What is the boards of those nonprofits? What is their financial statements? That's all. Any of the nonprofits that got money from spirit funds, all of that was answered. Some didn't even qualify and never even made it past the scrutiny of the community board or the citizen board that reviewed them. Who is the nonprofit? Who are the three entities that we're releasing this money to, or the entities? And then who's the county staff? What percentage of the votes are there? And is the ARPA strategy? I would feel more comfortable if it's a board member rather than a citizen community member. That is not defined.
I mean,
Are you saying we don't know?
well, I'm saying that it's a request for proposal, the way it's designed. We weren't, overly prescriptive. We wanted to make the representation that will be, the advisory board will consist of, the member list that you see ultimately there. Do you have anything to add?
Well, let me, you've pretty much answered that, so before my time expires, let me ask this. Revolving loan is only a revolving loan if it gets paid back. I understand that we're going to have twice a year or some annual reporting. Somebody doesn't pay it back, there's no more revolving loan.
Yeah, I felt pretty good on the presentation that was just given about the standard and threshold in terms of what was ultimately going to be required. I mean, we can have that repeated if you want.
I see that there's a number of other people waiting to wait. They may have the same questions, so I will relinquish my time because mostly I'm concerned. That's not, page 137 is not answered as far as I'm concerned, and I am very reluctant to release $3.5 million to an entity or a group that we really don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the money won't be released until loans are made. So, you know, that would be the other thing. I mean, tonight's decision doesn't, you know.
It still doesn't answer who the nonprofit is.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't issued the RFP yet. We actually haven't written the RFP yet.
I have additional questions, but there's a number of people in the queue. I'll take my second time later.
Supervisor Hintz, I think it is. Supervisor Hintz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I appreciate the call yesterday, even though it was tough to answer while I was in rush hour traffic between Milwaukee and Chicago. And it was hard to concentrate, so there were going to be some things that I couldn't think of yesterday. That
You're here.
Yes. I just want to say nobody bats 1,000 on approving loans. So, I mean, we're going to have, we have to figure out how we're going to deal with that if somebody were to default or if somebody were to even declare bankruptcy. I also noticed during the presentation that we had, during the Pillar 2 discussion, we had examples of Appleton, Madison, Milwaukee, and other municipalities who actually kicked in money towards these projects. And my question would be, we've got around 10 supporters that are municipalities and private groups and whatnot. Why are we the only ones kicking in $3.5 million? Why don't these other entities have skin in the game as well? It would make a lot of us feel a lot more comfortable putting this money into a fund like this and having it used like this if these municipalities who are sitting there with their hands out saying, yeah, we want more housing, saying, yeah, we're willing also to participate in that and put some of our skin in the game as well, because otherwise it's all our risk and none of their risk. All they're doing is, and I spent 12 years on city planning in Oshkosh. I did another couple of years here on the county, and I understand there are a lot of hurdles that need to be overcome. None of that's been done in advance of us passing this. And again, they have, without them having skin in the game, they can say they're going to do things like that, but we don't know that they're going to do things like that.
Okay, a couple of things I can help you answer that. First of all, on the flow chart, it shows very specifically what are the responsibilities of the nonprofit that we haven't hired yet. And one of them is to go out and do fundraising and get the match. Somebody has to put their money first. Also, as I presented tonight, one of the things we're going to look at in the financial stack is what other contributions have been made. What is the match by other communities? So the cities and communities might give their money in the form of land. They may give their money in the form of different loans that they have. I'll use an example of the property, for instance, I'm very familiar with right now is on North Main Street. The city of Oshkosh gave ARPA money to them first and came to the county later. The county did not provide ARPA money, but the city did commit. It'll be project by project, and that would be part of the review and scoring tool used.
Okay, thank you. And let's see, I also wanted, and I wasn't going to address this tonight, I did address this with Executive Hintz on the phone yesterday, but a person commented on this today. We are looking at a housing glut coming up in the future once boomers start passing away, unfortunately. Both of my parents who were boomers are gone, unfortunately, but I'm in their house now, and when I go, well, there's a 3-bedroom home that's going to be on the market. There are other people who are older that have lived in the same home that they raised their families in for years, and they're staying in them because they're paid off. They can afford to stay in them. And these homes are going to start coming on the market, unfortunately, because people are getting to that age. And I know the loss, and I'm not saying this offhanded or lightheartedly or anything like that, because I've lost both of my parents. I understand the situation. And that market is going to burst the bubble when those houses start coming onto the market. So we also have to think about that before we get too far out in front of our skis on things like this. I'm not saying this is a bad idea. I'm just saying that we have to also remember within the next 10 years, we've got a situation that could end up making this kind of not as I can't think of the word right now because I've got a bell ringing on me. I'm not Pavlov's dog, obviously.
I mean, there's a couple different housing trends going on. I mean, our population growth is modest, but we're seeing fewer people living in each unit, and so demand continues to increase. We also see situations where single people often are living in 5-bedroom homes, and a 5-person family can't find a place to live. There's a mismatch between places people live, which is why, like the Sheboygan example worked, where retirees were moving into the workforce housing, which then freed up housing for other places. I also know that communities like Oshkosh have some of the highest number of pre-1900 homes in them, and at some point, those simply are going to need to be replaced. Our real population growth goes through 2040 and then starts seeing some decline. It's hard to predict. If Arizona keeps going 3 straight months over 110 degrees, maybe Winnebago County looks a lot better to move to in a few years, and we certainly hope to promote that.
Before we go any farther, I want them bells off. Who's ever got them, get them off and shut them off now. I don't know who's got them, I don't know where it come from, but I heard 2 in his while he was talking.
Rang, so. Yeah, I hit mute.
Supervisor O'Brien.
Hitting mute works really well.
Okay, a tax increment financing district is a designated area where future increases in property tax revenue are used to fund redevelopment, revitalizing blighted areas and funding public improvements without raising taxes. The disadvantages are potential misuse, shifting resources away from schools or services, and sometimes failing to deliver promised economic growth. Can we can we ensure that these would not be in a TIF district? In other words, that Winnebago County would receive maximum amount of property taxes?
Only 35% of TIF money can be used for affordable housing, so a lot of projects will not be 100% funded through that. We can certainly list that as a priority or a disincentive to assist people in providing housing. I mean, again, the resolution can be, can be changed, and we can add criteria to
And
this.
that's why I'm asking, yeah. Okay. I'm also told that this program reduces risks for developers. Who assumes that risk? Does the county assume the risk? And if this program benefits developers, where are the developers this evening?
You did have two letters of support, I believe. One was from Commonwealth, who is a developer. I'll use the example of affordable housing. There's another tax credit project here in Oshkosh that is proposed. They just received the award. Because of changes in the federal government and in the funding that they're allowing, they now, when they submitted their application, they had their financing stack in place. They are now more than $2 million short. And what's going to happen is if they don't have that $2 million, if they're not able to secure it, Oshkosh and Winnebago County will have 42 units less of affordable housing by people at 80% or less of county median income. So what happens is if they go and they get their money in a different loan and they can't, that's when they become in financial difficulties. They're either going to choose not to build at all, or they're going to take on a risk, because affordable housing, you've got to have some subsidies. And, as many places I've been, as many conferences I've been to, we've all, another thing we're looking into is how do we get the deep subsidies and down payment assistance versus a 50-year mortgage.
Okay, I'm not quite clear. When we say affordable housing, are we talking about these houses that we kind of had like a picture of, like a two-car garage and like,
you know, all like 3 bedrooms and things like that. Are those affordable housing?
We're
When we
looking at
use that term.
affordable housing as being that, that is affordable by people at 140% or less of county median income per this resolution. Affordable housing, that's workforce housing generally, is what
So-
we're speaking to.
So these are like houses that are about $250,000. Is that
These are
kinda-
houses, there's actually at the back of your frequently asked questions, they're affordable to people making approximately $80,000 a year. And they're being sold at about $300,000 to $325,000. What we're finding is that there are many communities, and we have at least 2 people have come into Winnebago County saying that they will make an agreement where they will sell a house for $325,000 or less that meets the criteria of 12 to 1,400 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and a 2-car attached garage with a dishwasher. They're doing it. They're willing to do that I'll say almost on a contract basis with a community because they understand that workforce housing is necessary. Kenosha's running a project like this right now, and they're providing down payment assistance so that depending on what you're making, it's a sliding scale, so you will not pay more than 28% on your principal and your mortgage, and you'll pay no more than 30%, including your taxes and your insurance.
Yeah, thank you.
Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A little background, during the process of bringing this forward as a member of the ARPA Commission, I was very adamant in my position that I would support what we're calling workforce housing. And I think the resolution, there was a lot of discussion, there was a document brought forward that indicated, well, okay, we're going to do that. The resolution we have in front of us indicates affordable for the workforce. It does incorporate mixed income housing. So I think this is kind of borderline in its terminology. But where I have a real problem, and I mentioned this during the ARPA Commission meeting, is if you turn to page 138. Now, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th paragraph down. It clearly indicates even they will focus on meaningful affordability, but all housing types will be considered. I consider that to be a direct conflict, certainly with the intent that I had, and I think the resolution suggests. All houses could include rental units, condos. It's a pretty wide spectrum. And I think that is way too vague, and those words should not be in there. I support this housing issue for workforce housing. But if we're going to include language that would include all housing, I got a real concern about that. Would you care to respond to that, Mr. Executive?
Or do you want to address that? You mind if I have, because I think Lou alluded to a little bit in why we were going with being less prescriptive.
And I will go to the fact there's communities in Winnebago County that do not.
Can you go to the mic, please, so everyone can hear you?
Sure. It is addressing the flexibility. We can give preference to workforce housing, but not every community can build single-family homes. Affordable housing may mean rental for some people. For senior housing, it may mean condos. And so this is the plans that the cities and communities will come to us with. It's not for the county, in my opinion. It's about the flexibility. We can give preference to anything, but I'm not here to say, well, City of Menasha, you must do this, or yes, City of Winneconne, you must do this. We can give preference to that, but I'm also saying what we know to be true today is not necessarily true 5 years from now. And so the flexibility is why that's up to and including.
If I might respond to that, as we go further, the documents furnished to us on page 140, Sheboygan County to construct entry-level homes, very specific. Jefferson County, workforce. Let me go a little further. Milwaukee, affordable housing. They are tailoring the funds to a specific type of housing. Outagamie County, same thing. 3.5 million for affordable housing. I suggest we could do the same thing, and maybe should do the same thing.
Thank you.
Supervisor Bender.
I guess one of my questions, what I would need to know is who's funding the operational cost, who's funding the startup cost, who's paying for the underwriters? We don't know that because we don't know who the nonprofit is. We don't know if they have the capability. Are we taking out of that $3.5 million, $500,000 million for startup costs? I know when I talked to you about the safe parking, you told me to find a nonprofit that'll pay the operational cost, and then we'll look at maybe using some county land. Well, now you want me to give you $3.5 million, and then you're going to go find a nonprofit. It's like there's two different standards here. You know, either we all play on the same field, or, you know, it doesn't seem like it's apples for apples. You basically want the money up front, and then you're going to find a nonprofit. For my safe parking, you want me to find a nonprofit to run it, and then maybe we can get the land. It's really hard when you don't have nothing to offer somebody.
Well, I don't know if those discussions are totally analogous. I was mostly just saying if the county was going to build a safe parking lot, who was going to run it?
You wanted me to get, they have to self-fund it. I can find somebody to run it. You don't want to pay the $12,000 a month. And what I'm curious is who's going to pay the startup cost to get this going, and who's going to pay the operational cost on a monthly basis, and who's going to do the underwriting. What's that going to cost us? We have $3.5 million. Are we going to take $500,000 worth of expenses right off the bat to get this up and running? Now we only got $3 million for the revolving loan because we don't know the nonprofit. We don't know what their assets are. So for me to approve this, I would need to know if they're paying for the startup costs, if they're paying for the operational costs, who's paying for the underwriters of the loans, what the interest rates are going to be on the loans.
Do you want to address that?
I understand your concerns. Part of it, yes, we're looking at startup costs, but the interest earned on the loans is to repay those costs. That's where it's self-funding, if you will. So yes, there's going to be some expenses up front. Again, the RFP will be very specific in asking for the cost of everything, so we have that idea before we approve the contract that we would sign with the RFP. To address one of the questions earlier, it's a cart and a horse. You got to have some money. You have to ask the right questions. We want a fair bid process. We'll put it out. There's some local people we hope that will bid on it, but we don't have it earmarked, nor have we sold it to anybody at this point. We want a fair and open bid process for it with an RFP like you do with every one of your county contracts. But yes, that's how it'll be funded, and it'll be self-funded once the interest starts coming in. The interest will
Once
be
we approve
sliding.
the money, we lose any control. It's like the 980 houses. We were told we were going to get 6 980 houses. We got 3. We were told it wasn't going to look like a trailer park. It looks worse than a trailer park. We got buildings with no windows. If you close the door in the bedroom, there's not a skylight in there. They don't know if it's day or night. I mean, nobody in their right mind would have approved that.
Getting way off here. Let's stick to this.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, once we give you the $3.5 million, it's out of our hands.
Supervisor Mako.
Thank you. I think this is a great idea with great intentions of getting some homes built in the county. But there's a lot of unknowns in the whole process. Do we know what commitment the cities and towns and villages have to this? Are they signed on to this, or are they just sending a letter saying, "Oh, it's a good idea"? We have to, if we're going to be committed to this, they need to be committed to it too. Do we have any commitments from any of the?
Yeah, I mean, I think in response to Supervisor Hins's question, Lou, talked about, the different city projects that are going out there and leveraging those resources. I think, in terms of the concern that Supervisor O'Brien had about, the usage of TIF, this would allow the municipalities to access resources perhaps without going to TIF. But do you want to give the answer you gave to John before?
But I understand what's happening in the past, but do we have something going on? When we commit this $4 or $3.5 million, are they committing? Are they putting money in the pot too, or or time, or land? You mentioned land, I think.
I think
But-
it's a project-by-project description. I mean, it's, different cities are doing different things right now, and every community who's moving forward, who's trying to do this, understands that land, if they've got land, they're putting land in. If they can put infrastructure in, they're putting infrastructure in. But that's part of the scoring, that's part of the application, is to say, what is that commitment? What is the match? We're not the primary financing here, we're GAP. So they've got to have all the other pieces in place, and this is this missing piece. So all of that will be looked at and reviewed and decided. I can't say, well, Oshkosh has committed $500,000 because they've committed more than that to one project already that they're doing, that they would have come to us and asked for money if it had been available. So it's a project by project, but absolutely part of the scoring is determining if there's match and contributions from communities and the developer.
Okay. Also, one of your questions and answers things here says that the part of the money is going to be used to help purchase the land. Trying to find the question. Purchase land, and that will not be passed on to the sale price. I'm not sure how that's going to work.
I'll use an example. Again, in the city of Kenosha, they gave the land to the developer. The land is valued at $40,000. They are not adding the cost of $40,000 to the sale price of the house.
Right. And the city of Oshkosh just sold some land to Habitat to build 8 homes, I believe, on Washington school land for $350,000. Does that $350,000 get passed on to the sale price, or?
Habitat has their own sale criteria. I understand what you're saying. I'm saying cities who want to do this are making these kind of decisions and making these choices. And that's all part of the application. It's not part of Winnebago County's responsibility to say, you must, but we're looking at this in the criteria. We don't have to fund everything. We don't. We can say no. It doesn't meet they're not putting enough into it. The idea is to say, if there's a gap and it's stopping financing and it's stopping developers from coming to Winnebago County and saying, oh, we'll go to Outagamie because they have a program like this, then is that the right thing we want to do for this county?
Okay, I just, so the answers to some of these questions and answers is maybe. Is that what best guess is they're not going to pass on the cost or whatever to sale price?
Well, no, I think on the Kenosha one, it was no, and then on the Habitat one, it's everybody's individual policy. So I thought she
Right.
answered that.
And the city of Oshkosh probably gave them a good price on that land, and they're happy to pay the $32,000 per property.
Yeah, I mean, I think they want the housing and then the future tax base probably. In that sale, I mean, it was I don't know, Tom's in the room. Did the city sell the property to Habitat? Is that what happened?
Yes, half the property.
Half the property.
Right. So they got a good deal, and the city is absorbing that difference.
Yep, so that's the cine skin. What's that? Oh, yeah, and they had also spent the money tearing it down, but they want new housing. I mean, it's it's kind of a win-win in that situation, but I think what Lou is saying, and, I recognize the balancing act of detail versus flexibility. Each case is going to be different. Lou was mentioning to me, a community like Menasha, city Menasha has less opportunity to build out and will have to do more kind of infill housing, which dramatically changes the kind of projects you're going to be able to do. Other communities will have the ability to do more, farmland conversion or, brand new housing and may have more infrastructure needs. you know, and each one is going to be different. I mean, the Oshkosh example is a good one of the trade-off that went on, you know, finding the sweet spot behind what was a fair deal to get houses built that'll ultimately be on the tax base, but provide new housing that's needed. And I think it shows that Oshkosh recognizes how important new housing is.
Okay. Yeah, I still think it's a good idea, but I think there's a lot of unknowns still in this thing. Thanks.
Supervisor Dowling.
Well, this is a fun and lively room tonight. My biggest, first of all, I appreciate the presentation, very much so. This board loves presentations. I just wish it would have happened last month, or we could have been emailed a digital video or something of the presentation so we'd have a little bit more time to ask questions instead of doing it live on the floor tonight. Just a concern. Is there a reason that the final guidelines, eligibility, collateral, loan terms, default rules won't come back to the board? Is there a reason that that wasn't put in the resolution?
Do you want to?
Okay. It could be revised. Okay, perfect. I guess that's my biggest concern, and it sounds like that might be a few other people's concerns as well. I do agree, Menasha is landlocked, so building up would be more logical for us, where condos might make more sense, instead of like a Fox Crossing where they have room to build out. We're just stuck by the water. Not that that's a bad thing. That's just the reality of the situation. So I would just like to see those eligibility loan guidelines before I push okay. So that's all. Thank you.
Supervisor Ponser.
Yes, thank you. I had a question on your presentation. It did say owner occupied. At first I thought, well, what are you letting people by making apartment houses, which I realize why you said that. But somebody could still turn around and take advantage of this program and in 3 years refinance that house so they're out of a WIDA loan and it'd be a regular conventional loan, and then they could rent it out. So I'm worried about the game players. I think it's a nice program. It's got to be addressed. But my only concern, and some of you might remember this, some won't, when that money came to the county and it was designated that 25% was for non-government, and all of a sudden the words got changed, it was charities and nonprofits. How much money out of that ARPA has gone for non-government? I realize that we escape those rules, but I'm going to stick by them because that's why I voted to take the money in one lump sum. No, they don't know.
Paul, would you?
I wasn't here, but I thought it was 50.
No, it was 25.
16 and a half. And there was maybe 800,000 moved up, so probably 15 and a quarter was appropriated to the bottom category. Nonprofits / some of the other ones. I think Land and Water might have been in that one. So if you want a listing, I can pull it up and read it.
What's the rough percentage of that?
50%. 45%.
Okay. 45%, I think.
I was just wondering that. Now I'm on. I was just wondering that because I wanted to stick by what it was designated originally, because some of it you had to. And I didn't know how much we had spent. I thought it was 25% for non-government. Everybody put the words in nonprofit. So I'm just wondering where we sit with that.
So I can tell you, I'm just quickly, where are you? There you are.
You're the short.
So On March 14th, 2023, John Damel had prepared an agenda item report regarding establishing the Spirit Fund and transferring funds, and there were 3 buckets. So your memory is correct, but it switched. But at that time, it was 25% allotted to county government projects, 50% allotted to government-identified community projects, and 25% to non-government community projects. But those 3 buckets were reduced to 2, and it was 50 apiece. And I'll keep looking to see what I can find.
Good enough. I just wanted to know that. I'm not against the program, but I kind of like to keep, on an even keel with what that money was designated for.
Yeah,
Thank
so-
you.
So I can tell you, yeah, the,
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. The resolution that Corporation Council is looking for is 167-1223.
Thank-
1-23. That's where we put it into 2 different buckets.
yeah, thank you Supervisor Hanson. I just got my hands on it, and that's right. So at that point, and it was signed on April 5th, but it was 50% to county government projects and 50% to government-identified community projects.
Okay. Good enough.
Supervisor Facetto.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to point out to everybody that, we're getting into a lot of details here, which, and County Executive, you pointed it out, and Lou, you pointed it out, that, we're trying to remain flexible. Unfortunately, this initiated with the Industrial Development Board, which I happen to chair. We fed $1 million into it, and we spent a lot of time talking about this kind of stuff. Lou and I got to know each other really well over the last year and a half. But I've been in government for so long that we try to really, really narrow things down, because our ultimate focus is we want to get somebody in an affordable house. But that's not the way the marketplace works. So we're trying to be a little bit flexible in terms of the eligibility, who, all of these kind of things that you all want up front before you commit $3.5 million. But if we don't commit that $3.5 million, the $1 million that the IDB put forward is going to go right back into our coffers and is not going to be used for anything until we come up with another use. The revolving loan fund is something I'm extremely familiar with, because I ran a federal program that used that. And with the proper oversight, which we're going to have, because we're going to have members of the IDB on it, people who are part of the marketplace. We're going to have ARPA members on it. We'll have that oversight. But a lot of the stuff you've been talking about tonight, the comments you've been making, extremely helpful. And that's something that is going to go into the RFP, which is going to determine who is going to help administer it. The IDB currently has GoEDC administering a revolving loan fund on the business side of things. We're essentially looking at a housing aspect of it, which is part of our strategic plan and part of economic development, because we're going to try to build a tax base. That money is going to come back to Winnebago County in spades. And I understand that we want to make sure that we've got all our ducks in a row. And by the end of this process, we will. There's no question in my mind. The 2 resolutions in front of us are to authorize. That's it, authorize, not obligate. It's not going out the door. It's going to still collect interest until all of your questions are going to be answered. I would suspect that when we get to that point, we're going to have another 1 or 2 presentations to show the progress that's been going on. And I look forward to it. So thank you.
Supervisor Placzynski.
Thank you. First, I'm just going to make a couple comments, just looking over the revolving loan fund frequently asked questions. On Q15, what is an example, what a $350,000 home might look like? So you're saying that that is an example of the affordable houses, like around 350,000? So then if you look at Q16, what are the mortgage payment details for, it says for $340,000 home, I'm fine with that, whatever. But you're assuming a 20% down payment, that's $68,000 for affordable or workforce, affordable for the workforce. I mean, I think I am comfortable in where I'm at in life. Could I come up with almost $70,000? Quite possibly, and I understand you're gonna have some grants or to help with that down payment, but still, that is a lot more. So then, County Executive, you made a comment about Oshkosh, most of the houses being pre-1940s and nearing replacement.
I say most. I said we have some of the highest in the state of homes that have been built before 1900.
Every time I drive through the downtown area, what really gets me is I look at these houses, and I mean, at one time they were beautiful homes. A majority of them are now being purchased by, well, I shouldn't say a majority, but a lot of them are being purchased when they come up for sale by corporations that are in the business to rent them out and make a profit, which I think then drives up. I mean, I'm not knowledgeable on everything, but in my mind, that drives up rent prices. And we do have a ton of renters that are paying exorbitant amounts of rent, not really affordable. I would love to see something utilized to actually take that area, because you already have an infrastructure that's there. We don't have to pay for another one. Let's buy off some of these houses and create homes in that area and make them affordable. Because another thing that was mentioned in the resolution, there was two things. We want to encourage or attract new families, but we also want to encourage high-density development. I work for the town of Omro, and last night we had our town meeting. Typically, we only have a handful, whatever, people that attend the meetings on a regular basis, but last night we probably had close to 30 people there, and the majority of them that were there to speak in opposition of a potential housing development. These families are moving out to the town area because they want to have the town environment. They want that rural environment, but they want that to be close to that urban area. So a lot of them were really frustrated with the thought of across the street from them might be another subdivision going in, and they saw the potential for it being more of a high density, and they don't want that. So it's just a couple things to keep in mind for things that are standing out to me, just what I see. So not really questions, but just statements.
It's complicated.
Supervisor Laux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, first of all, to Supervisor Fari's comments that about workforce housing. Workforce housing really is broader, I think, than just single-family dwellings, because, and I brought this up before in discussions, I think that we should be advertising Winnebago County in Arizona and saying, come here when you're sick of the hot, right? Or Florida, come here when you're sick of the hurricanes. And we need to have apartments and houses and affordable housing, and then for them to move up in the area and keep them in the area and their children in the area. And also, I think something that we have to keep in mind is new affordable housing may or may not be affordable. But when you build the new housing, then people who are living in older homes can shift into the new homes, and then those old homes, and my house is not getting torn down anytime soon, even though it's more than 100 years old. Then the other people can buy those cheaper homes that are older. And the final thing is, last night at the Winnebago County Housing Authority meeting, we were shown how to increase our public housing. And I think we should keep in mind that we could increase the amount of public housing that we have for the Fox North campus. Thank you.
Supervisor Patterson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. County Executive. Sorry I missed your calls. It's okay. I was not ducking them, I promise you. So I have some real concerns about this, and I don't know that I'll get to address all of them here at this one spot, but, you know, I'm looking at lines 25 through 29. I'm calling that the red tape paragraph, is what I'm calling it. We have had 3 different discussions about housing in this chamber over the last year, and all 3 of them have concluded that this is a very difficult county to build in general, and that we are in a city that's next to impossible to build in. As a matter of fact, even the Habitat for Humanity folks said that they could have done more had there not been so much restrictions within our county and specifically this city. It's nice that we got a letter from the city manager, okay? But this notion that we're going to work with community leaders, to me, that just kind of sounds like a smile and a handshake. I'll get a much more confident feeling about this when we actually have it in black and white. That we have a clear understanding, particularly in Oshkosh, that they're prepared to accept smaller lots, smaller homes, miles less of red tape, so that it isn't so expensive to build here in the first place. That issue, which is prominent, and again, we've heard this 3 times over the last year, is not being addressed. I'm going to have a hard time supporting this until we actually get hardcore commitments in black and white from these communities that we can actually build smaller homes. That's my first comment.
Yeah, I think you are starting to see, again, each community is going to be different based on their potential, but I can tell you I had a good meeting the other day with the new Oshkosh City Manager Grill, and, you know, one of their council and directives was to work on a city-county economic development partnership plan, so we started talking about that. I think the council has been trying to remove some measures, some that I actually didn't like, regarding second readings and things to try to speed up the permitting process. But I do believe there's been some discussion on lot size. I know that my predecessor has also been, raising that issue as well. Since 2023, you've seen more housing permits taken out we were just looking the other day at Neenah, Oshkosh, I forget one other community, and they've gone up, and I think it's a result of some of the urgency that you're seeing. And you heard Tom Simon from Habitat, drop the numbers of how many families were looking for, 4 units. And so, again, for developed communities without the opportunity to grow, it will be about, there will have to be some density, and but you're not wrong.
If I may be allowed to continue, I appreciate your response to that. I just really see that as the cornerstone issue towards making any real progress here. Second thing that I want to throw out there is that at no point in this have we discussed anything that I like to call throughput analysis, all right? If indeed we're looking at building $300,000, $315,000 homes, which is at or just slightly above the median, how many homes do we think this program is going to produce? We're talking about needing to have 10,000 homes, 10,000 dwellings over the next 10 years. What's the throughput analysis starting in year one in doing this? Is it going to be 12 homes? Is it going to be 20 homes? Which is nowhere near the 10,000, which is our target. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, I'm someone who's not overselling, meaning at the end of the day, when you're talking about a county of 170 plus people, you know, $4.5 million isn't going to change the world. This is the beginning of a program that we hope will demonstrate success and grow, and on any number of projects could provide meaningful gap financing, whether it's a small project or maybe more of the resources towards a bigger project. But in terms of getting more skin in the game, maybe leveraging some private funding, maybe you know, finding new ways to partner with our municipal partners, I think building off that success. And I know there's some questions that, you know, this is one of those things that we're going to need to evaluate, you know, if we move forward in terms of that. I mean, that's, you know, Lou just to mention about some things about how we would, you know, measure what success looks like.
I think when you're talking single-family homes, it's a little bit easier to calculate that by the time they make the plan and the commitment of funds, when they start breaking ground, often it's in less than a year that that house is sold. That house is a lien. When that house is sold, the city's repaid, the county's repaid, the money goes back and it goes and moves forward. The interest earned then pays for the cost of doing what we're doing. So single-family homes is probably the quickest way of turning money over. And when you look at things like, when I talked about Jefferson, they're doing home ownership, and they're doing them 5 at a time. Build 5 houses, sell 5 houses, move on to the next one, use that money to use on the next 5 houses, use that money on the next 5 houses. They also have a separate program for their rental properties, which, if we decide that's a priority or not, that does extend the terms to up to maybe 8 years, because by then, the primary cost of rentals, there's money to be paid, be able to pay back and refinance. And deed restrictions are in place. But with single-family homes, you theoretically can get paid back within 18 months.
Do I still have
Supervisor
time
Hanson,
left, or am I done? I'm sorry, do I still have time left, or am I done?
Well, our time, go ahead, I'll give you one more.
Okay.
Our timer isn't working here in case someone
Right,
hasn't
right.
seen, but go ahead.
So I guess the final question I'll ask in this segment here is, hand in hand with trying to work with communities and reducing the red tape involved in construction, when you're talking about working with these communities, are we talking about only reducing the red tape for these purposes or for all other additional purposes? Other contractors that are not a part of this program that are trying to build in other communities as well? And so, again, I just want to know conceptually, what is the thought there?
I will say in the short time I've been here, I've been here 2.5 years, and I'll use Amro as an example, and Tom was here. We helped Habitat create and hurry up or solve a problem with 2 meetings that hurried up and went from a waiting period of over a year to less than 6 weeks of being able to move forward. So anytime we can be of help, we're happy to do that.
Supervisor Hanson, second time.
Actually, Mr. Chairman, the rules that we recently adopted, I see that, well, the names just changed. Supervisor Cox, Hancock Cook, Supervisor Halber have not spoken yet, so I am not supposed to be speaking now until they have their first chance. So if I could ring back in, thank you.
Okay, if you want to just check back in then. Supervisor Holt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am supportive of this. I think you've heard ways that we can improve on the resolution, and I think we can provide those recommended amendments tonight. I think that this is something that's needed, not necessarily by our bigger developers that have access to substantial financing, but this is more for parties who don't have that access or can't get that loan. I think that there are ways that the county board can stay involved and probably should stay involved in this. not just for a check-in or a report out, but I believe that we should have some responsibility in making sure that the structure of this plan is sufficient to do the work that we're setting out to do, whether it's as Vice Chairman Fari said, with the types of housing, or a lot of the concerns people are raising are those concerns about, well, what if you don't do this? What if you do this? And I think we can resolve a lot of that by having some at least check-in and oversight at some point in the process as the administration figures out what this is going to look like. For instance, perhaps after the RFP is gone through its process and you have maybe a single person or a single community partner that you intend to work with, and they've done this before.
Supervisor Cox.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The more I listen to this, and it is so overlapping where things just don't seem to make any sense. First place, a person goes to a builder or a mortgager to try to set up a place to live. They want to build a house. The first thing they take a look at is the debt and credit. Their balances, what they're able to put in and get skin in the game. Without having that skin in the game, you've got loose people that are able to jump into a house that we've provided the rudimentary beginnings by having given somebody some money, and there isn't the actual direct skin in the game. There are several decisions that haven't been met. The transportation issue for getting people to and from a job, okay? We don't have a good transportation network in the county that's going to take somebody from one end of the county to the other end of the county just because you happen to put in a subdivision in Black Wolf and they've got a job in Winnebago, okay? You don't have a setup for your future land use maps yet, or do you have a strictly some kind of a composition package for all of each one of the municipalities or each one of the county, towns? Those kind of things have to be laid out before you decide to throw dollars at a subdivision. We, in a revolving fund, we've got, in IDB, we've got a $1 million fund that is being managed through ECD. That being managed is still going to have to take a look at where the subdivisions go. It's going to have to be managed by qualified builders and qualified mortgagers. We don't have a department in this county in our under your direction, Gordon, under your direction. We don't have a department that can apply the results of finding land, the future maps, the future land use maps, and putting together all of the intricacies of making sure that the individual is able to support the buy and the rotation of money that you're going to invest in him. In other words, Trish and GOEC EDC is able to evaluate whether the business or whether the individual has got enough credit and enough skin in the game to be able to take care of the segment of dollars that they're rotating through. We don't have people here to do that in a department setup, such as the land department that Secura may have, where they go out and they search out for areas and then they develop them. I think that you got to sit down and break that down to a point where you really truly can give the money to a department head, or put the money through a budget that can be laid out and structured in some way, whether it's an enterprise package or something like the highway department or the Parkview department or whatever. But it has to have some kind of umbrella within the county that is able to look at this before we release $3.5 million and say, okay, go to work, find a mortgager, find a place where we can put a subdivision in, or whatever. We don't have those pieces together.
I know we don't have a clock, but come on. Unless you have questions for the county executive, save your comments.
Well, I think I can glean a question out of this. Because we've discussed this before, Supervisor, on, and maybe I think some of you probably asked, well, why wouldn't we attempt to administer a revolving loan program out of the county? In other words, well, why even have a nonprofit do the program? And, and we don't. You're right. We don't have the expertise or efficiency to effectively manage with existing county staff in-house. We don't have the expertise, and to add the cost that it would take to add the capacity to this project would be greater than the administrative costs of doing an RFP for a nonprofit. So one of the reasons, as someone mentioned, or you mentioned, that we work with GoEDC is for the same reason. I do see the discussion that we're having tonight. For those of you that have been on the board for a decade or more, we're taking on issues as a county that are more pressing, that involve housing, homelessness, the need for new tax base, more diverse challenges that are going to require more. And we are going to have to reimagine our departments, and we're having those conversations. Planning and zoning is going to have to take on more community development, more economic development. And, but I think, when you talk about what we have for capacity to do this in-house versus this kind of proposal, there are also other benefits. A third-party group that might want to, a private group that might want to contribute to the fund, as we see in Sheboygan, is not going to give money to the county to manage a fund, but if it's a nonprofit, they will give money, especially for tax purposes, to give some private match to that fund. And so there are, other, benefits beyond our, the fact that we would have to add capacity internally on that.
ask you all, please, you know about when your 2 minutes are. That's all I can say, because we have no timer up here, and there again, that's our computer system, so. Huh? I don't want the bells going off, though. Next is Supervisor Halber. I'm gonna go Supervisor Halber, Supervisor Hancock Cook, and I'm starting right from the top and going down again. And Vice Chairman Farr will be after Doug Nelson, Supervisor Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to throw a lot of information at you, and then I'm going to ask a couple of questions. Being as I just bought my house here recently in Winnebago County, so I kind of have a real finger on the pulse of how this works. Since 2019, homes in Winnebago County's prices have jumped 67.7%. The median sales price in Winnebago County right now is $260,000. That is a mortgage payment of $1,708 a month before your PMI, which is mortgage insurance if you don't put down 20% on your house, before your insurance, before your taxes, before any maintenance or utilities or any upgrades or improvements that you want to do on your house. The average apartment rent for a 3-bedroom apartment here in Winnebago County is $1,200 to $1,800 a month. We are having a huge population decrease. In the state of Wisconsin, we have nearly 2 million individuals age 55 to 64, 65 to 74, or 75 and up who will be moving in with family members, moving into assisted housing, and unfortunately, eventually passing away. Those houses will eventually come open. The current median household income in Winnebago County is $74,000 a year. To put down 20% on a $260,000 house, that is $52,000. You would have to save $1,000 a week for an entire year, or $500 a week for 2 years. And we were just in this room arguing and debating over the budget when people can't afford an extra $20 or $30 a month. So I ask you, what is affordable about $1,700? And I know that from experience because I bought a $155,000 house 2 years ago with a 6.875% interest rate 2 years ago, and a 3.5% down payment because I have an FHA loan. So if we're going to do any type of government assistance for loans, then you have PMI. My mortgage was $1,325 a month before the taxes, and the insurance just rose again this year. Now I'm up to $1,500 a month. How is $1,700 or more a month for a $300-something thousand house? How is that affordable? That's my first question.
Yeah, I think you just made the best argument for the revolving loan program.
No, because you're
because we're trying to build more housing because of the issue you just highlighted. We have a supply issue that's driving up prices.
We have 28 to 45 vacant homes for every homeless person in America. We have a cost crisis. This is exactly what Rachel and I just wrote on our housing amendment. We have vacant homes. People can't afford to live in them. Rent being an average of $1,200 to $1,800 a month is unaffordable. If we build $380,000 homes, people are not going to be able to afford that. I can't afford a $155,000 home, barely. That's what I'm saying. How is $1,700 a month affordable?
It's not, which is why we're moving forward with this, in which communities that are being proactive are making decisions that they're going to address quantity and affordability in their communities, and they're going to try to grow their communities. They're going to try to meet workforce needs. They're going to try to meet the demand for the housing that they need, because we know that we haven't built enough houses over the last 30 years.
But in your examples, your affordable housing examples are $300,000 plus dollars.
Because that's the cost of a new home.
Correct. So how is that affordable? Because that's going to be more than $1,700 a month.
Yeah, because of I would go to the Sheboygan example that Lou gave, where it was aimed at workforce housing, but retirees moved in, which freed up existing housing from where the retirees were. So it didn't work out the way they originally intended it, but it accomplished what they hoped for in terms of creating more affordable housing.
out of all of the support that I have heard about this bill, I think it's wonderful that we want to do something. I just am not sure that this is the right thing. What guardrails are we going to put in place to keep investors and people like BlackRock from coming in, using up all of our government assistance and all of our goodwill to build these communities and then not making them affordable? What guardrails do we have in place to make sure that these rents, when they build multifamily homes, they're going to stay affordable? What guardrails are we going to have in place that says if you use this program to build a house, you can't sell it to someone else for 3 times the cost?
Do you want to address the free market?
What most communities are doing, what I would suggest that we do is deed restrictions, implying that people cannot sell their house within 7 years without paying a penalty. It's got to be owner occupied. We've agreed that that's a non-negotiable. There are so many different mechanisms. We could go down rabbit holes of doing land trust. There's a lot of ways to support the long-term affordability of this. And I'm suggesting that's up to the communities to decide, not the county to decide, how we're going to create, what we're going to create in each of our properties. And so I look at this and saying, if we wanted to take the Fox Cities campus and turn it into a land trust, that would be up to the people of Menasha, not up to the county to do. But that's, you know, when you talk about how are you going to keep it affordable, that's the first thing I thought of when I started this program. What's to stop me and 5 of my friends to buy 10 houses, flip them in a year, and make money on them? We don't want that to happen. That's what deed restrictions are for. So it's a buy-in process. It's a comprehensive written out plan, but part of that is a responsibility of the cities we're working with. And like I said, we don't have to give this money out. We're not going to stand on a corner saying, oh, you want 500,000, you want 5. That's not what this is about. This is about projects that can prove that they have a gap and they're going to provide the housing that we're asking for.
Our timer's working now and you hit it right to the button, so. Supervisor Hancock.
Thank you, Chairman. I am a resident of the city of Neenah, and I would like to highlight the city of Neenah completed their housing study in March of 2025. It's a 125-page study. You can look at it anytime you'd like. I am also on the Planning Commission in the city of Neenah, which operates in terms of community development a little bit more than the County Planning Commission does, as I understand. The city of Neenah needs 1,000 units. We have highlighted that what we're looking for, you know, we need units. We need new stock. The affordability issue is another issue altogether. It is the same entwined, but we need new stock. We do not have enough places for people to live. In Neenah, on the Planning Commission, to address an earlier commissioner's concerns, we are going through a complete zoning review. We have already okayed going to smaller lots. We have accepted 0 lot lines. We have accepted we're looking at the potential how can accessory dwelling units, both attached to the home and separate from the home, help us to increase our stock in the city of Neenah for housing. I would encourage everybody to look at the flow chart narrative, which is in one of the 15 documents that were supplied with this resolution, which reiterates in point 2, the administrator's responsibilities, and point 3, the board requirements. So this is the oversight board is going to include the people they said it's going to include. It's sort of vague, I agree, but it doesn't say 5 people from this or 6 people from that. But that it really does create a very clear guideline of what we're going to be doing. I am in support of things that are creative financing. I do want to highlight one last point. Sheboygan County Economic Development Corporation and 4 private companies, Kohler, Sargento, Masters Gallery Foods, and Johnsonville collaborated to create 400 to 500 entry-level single-family homes. That's the piece of we need other investors. Those businesses knew they needed workforce housing to get the people they wanted to move to the area. We need to do that for economic development, as Supervisor Facetto pointed out. So I just want us to keep thinking about what's the goal we're trying to achieve here, and is this a good potential step? Because we have no step right now.
Supervisor Hintz.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to try to throw a bunch of information out here within my 2 minutes. Back in September, Oshkosh had these civic forum meetings, and I had the one I attended also had my the gentleman who followed in my footsteps and took over as chairman of the Oshkosh City Plan Commission. So a lot of our discussion at that forum was about housing in the city, and we discussed the 2021 city housing report for the city of Oshkosh. And one of the items that was in there was that we needed to build both affordable and higher level homes. Because A, those higher level homes bring in more tax base, and B, as you build those higher level homes, you build high-end homes, then the middle high move into those high homes, and then the middle move into the middle high, and the middle low move into the middle, and the low move into the middle low, and so on and so forth. And it creates a cascading effect where people can actually upgrade their homes without new stock being built specifically in that area, which has been discussed by other supervisors and everybody else. And again, I don't want to belabor that because I don't have a lot of time here. Unfortunately, the other thing we talked about was the fact of Oshkosh has a developer who's built hundreds of homes on the west side of Oshkosh, and they want to build another 91 homes out on the west side of Oshkosh, and the city is arguing with them over gravel roads. And the 91 home construction's been held up over gravel roads. So if the city's committed to this, that's great. They send a letter. They're committed to it. They're not proving it in the pudding. And that's the point that I'm getting at, is we need them to actually be bought in as part of this, and not just saying, oh yeah, we're gonna help more houses get built, and then they turn around on the other side of it and they don't help houses get built. Thank you.
Supervisor O'Brien.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I want to echo Supervisor Dowling's sentiment. It would have been nice to get the details on this a lot earlier. When I found out this was going to bubble up, I started asking questions right away. I got a much better understanding, but I still have questions and things that are still coming into focus. It just takes some time. The FAQ section was very helpful. Thank you. For the record, if this passes, I'd like to be on the oversight board. I think this program is in line with our strategic goals for the county. The main obstacle I have is that when we allocate this $3.5 million for the program, there's an opportunity cost. We're taking away the ability to use those funds for other projects. But from a strategic plan standpoint, it's completely in line with what we're looking for the county. My question is this: if the program is not working as well as we hope, would we be able to have a, have a sunset clause on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think we would. I think that the way I see it is this is a program you're going to continuously want to evaluate. I'm not overselling it. Like I said, it's $4.5 million. It's new. There's we would like to work a certain way. Some developers, aren't going to look at it. Some others, it's going to mean a big deal to. And I think, as Lou mentioned, there's some federal funding changes coming on housing that's going to make a program like this more necessary. But I think, I'm looking forward to coming back to you in the first quarter of next year to evaluate some of the things we passed in the budget, so that we get an update on looking back at recent decisions. If this moves forward, I think it would take a kind of annual review. I think we would want to give it a couple of years to see where we are, to see what the average cycle is, whether we're doing the single-family homes or a mix of projects based on need. And then as I mentioned when I was highlighting earlier, it's revolving. And if the program we decide or a future board looks back and says it's not working to the expectations and we'd rather utilize that money for something else, that would always be something the board, I think, could take up. But you have anything on that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Cox, second time.
Oh.
Well, he was on and he was off.
I've been pushing it and won't unleash it.
Okay. We'll get you on at the end.
I've done it like 4 times.
Supervisor Cox?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wait, can I just say something to
We got an answer to
regarding the
Supervisor
sun-
O'Brien's question.
Right. Oh,
I should have had
God.
it.
No, sorry, hold on. But you know what? I do better with this. Okay, hold on. So in the resolution, where is it? You will see in the be it further resolved clause, whereas, there it is. Winnebago County Board of Supervisors, as a condition of receipt of funds, recipients shall not discontinue providing services nor assign any of their rights or obligations. In connection with providing services, recipients shall be responsible to the county for any dispersed funds which are determined by Winnebago County to have not been used or misused or misappropriated. Any reimbursement of funds which is required by Winnebago County shall be due within 40 days of giving written notice to the recipient. So there is that language, and as you all know, there is nothing preventing you, once this actually gets on the floor, to making amendments to your liking.
Supervisor Cox. Second time.
I've looked at this, I don't know how many different directions. We've been presented it in the ARPA Commission. We've been presented the same thing in IDB. I believe that if you don't have future land use maps for each one of the various towns that you're planning on going and visiting and putting something together for them, you're doing a disservice to yourselves and to the towns themselves. You need to have a comp plan and a future land use plan before you go and set your subdivision in a given area. And then you need to look at transportation, and you need to look at the manufacturing and the retail and what goes on in that given area to take care of these people that are going to buy into it. Otherwise, you're looking for trouble, and people are going to try to take advantage of it, and when it's all said and done, we're going to be pulling back away from it. And I don't want to see the county lose a good program because we didn't do our homework early on, okay? So I can't vote for this unless I know for sure that we've umbrellaed it with good, solid facts, good, solid information, front-end information, comp plans, and everything that goes with it. Thank you.
Supervisor Laux.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So there was a comment about Oshkosh and their rules for building. The thing is that Winnebago County is not Oshkosh. It is not just Oshkosh. There's Neenah, Amro, Winneconne, Menasha. And Menasha has proven itself very willing to rezone just in this last month. Also, the point, I believe, in allowing it to be single-family, multifamily apartments is that we don't run into the problem that Supervisor Halber brought up, where new housing is expensive, because it is. But duplexes and condos, that brings down the price. And apartments you rent. I do believe we need more public housing. But I'm also worried that we just don't think about the rest of Winnebago County enough. We have a tendency to be very Oshkosh focused. And like, for example, Habitat for Humanity that builds in Neenah and Menasha is not here. They did not know this was on the agenda. They do kind of know about this program because I brought it up to them when they were at the Common Council meeting in Menasha. But they only know what I knew that at that time before the agenda was out. So I just worry that we're very Oshkosh focused. It is very hard to build in Oshkosh, but we have a lot of other communities and people than just Oshkosh. And I will be supporting this 110%.
The city of Menasha was very supportive.
Supervisor Nelson.
Yes, along with all the other questions and concerns all the other supervisors have, I've got rental units in the village of Winnebago. My competition, or I thought was competition, was a state-supported townhouse project that was put in there. They used a lot of state tax credits to build it. So far, it was designed for low-income housing. Their low-income housing is more expensive than my housing is. The concern is that we keep talking workforce housing, and I'm all for that. I thought the HUD program in the 70s was the best thing the federal government ever did. Then let's keep it to workforce housing. Okay, people that are renting apartments do not treat it like they treat their forever home that they're hoping to move into. Many landlords are not as decent of people to deal with, partly because they have people that don't respect the apartment they have. The caption here, what could the RFL be used for? Preference will be given to projects to promote home ownership opportunities for households earning 140% or less of county median income. However, other housing opportunities, including rental projects, will be considered for funding. There's 2 big apartment complexes that just went up on the west side of Oshkosh here. How are they going to feel if you offer low income to other rental properties? I would say the only way I can support it is get rid of the TID districts that absolutely cheat the school system and get rid of the rental properties. If we're going to try to find affordable workforce housing, then let's keep it to affordable workforce housing.
Again, I think I absolutely understand what you're saying. My only concern with affordable housing is affordable housing by people at 50 and 30% of county median income tax credit projects. And again, I'll use the example of the one that we're looking at here in Oshkosh, only because it's the one that's in front of me. There, 42 units, 100% of those are being rented to people at 80% and less. So that takes care of a different issue. Just like Habitat works with home ownership for the very, very low income, this provides affordable housing for people earning 30%. That's less than $2,000 a month, right? So they're paying 30% of their income towards that. So that's my concern. And it goes back to Sheboygan wanted workforce housing, but then somebody like me says, hey, I want to give up my 4-bedroom, 3,000 square foot house, and I want to move into a 1,400 square foot house. That's where it changes a little bit for me, because sometimes when you're looking to only bring new people in, it's not as fluid as you'd like to think it would be. But again, we're talking about we can change this amendment. Preference was the strongest word that we used during the ARPA conversations. But if you want to exclude it, that's part of the resolution. But I go back to the words of flexible, because in 5 years, we don't know what's going to be available to who. And maybe that's what I'm looking at, is trying not to have to come back and say, yeah, but we want to change this, because the pushback will then be, well, you said you were going to just do home ownership, but now the flex is saying we need more rental properties also. Quality rental properties that are rented to people at affordable rates based on their income is needed in these communities also, specifically for people 55 and older.
Supervisor Stafford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And by the way, thank you, County Executive and Lou Chair. You've been standing up there for like, I think about an hour and a half. I really think it's been that long. And I give you credit. I mean, if you want to take like a little rest break, you should.
No.
Do I look that bad?
When they take a break, we're all taking our break.
Well, that's good. I will say, though, I will say this does feel like it's more than a county executive report. Even some of our marathons with the past county executive, it does feel like this should probably have been a discussion item, or we're talking more.
It should have been a presentation, but.
Should have been a presentation,
it
and
wasn't handed
we get
in as a
into,
presentation, so I said if you want to
we're not
let
asking
answer a few
questions, we're
but
discussing.
All of a sudden, everybody has lots of questions.
Yeah, well, but some of it is just making comments, so, I don't know, it just seems a little weird. With that, I have comments, no. I do have comments, but I'm gonna wait. I will say this much, I think we have to be somewhat cautious of comparing other counties, because it's a little different. I would wanna know why we chose different paths versus other counties, so like Sheboygan County, so a former resident of Kohler, in the 1900s, so it's been a while. But I look at what they're doing, and the Sheboygan County Economic Development Corporation, they're the developer themselves. So that's a difference between our approach and their approach. And the county is only 20% of what the funding is. So there's a difference there in terms of mitigation. You know, as Supervisor Hancock Cook had mentioned, you're talking about the big manufacturing companies in Sheboygan County, right? And so there's differences there that I think we should recognize as we look at approaches and why this is the better approach. And their housing development, as an example, the Founders Point subdivision, they developed that subdivision solely to build for home access. We're not doing that either. So there's some differences that I find interesting, but this is not the forum to ask those questions. Unfortunately, it just isn't.
I just want to make one comment about Sheboygan. Sheboygan did put their ARPA money up first, then went around and had meetings with 8 corporations, of which 4 ponied up $2 million apiece. But that's how that started, and that's what I'm suggesting. This is the money we need to say, we've committed this, communities, businesses, what are you willing to commit?
But
So
we're
that's-
not,
that's a purpose.
right, but we're also not going to be the developer. We're going to offshoot.
Counting on the nonprofits.
Yeah, I
that's
mean,
part of
the Sheboygan Economic Development Corporation's a nonprofit.
Right.
And just like the Go EDC is the nonprofit that does our revolving loan.
I agree, but my point is, that is under a much more different control than what we're talking about here, which it seems like it's just a developer that we're going to be outsourcing this to. It's not clear in terms of what that pathway is.
Well, I mean, the county worked with Sheboygan Economic Development Corporation. We would be doing an RFP for a nonprofit to, you know, effectively do the same thing as Sheboygan.
All right, that's not clear, but again, those are conversations that would have been great in more of a presentation discussion, so. But I appreciate that, thank you very much.
I'm going to go Supervisor Buck, then Vice Chairman Farry, which I missed twice before already, and then the rest of them will go right on down. And when we're done, we'll take a break. Supervisor Farry.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Supervisor Buck.
okay.
Well, I had
I've been
Buck
waiting
already- I had
patiently
him
over here,
already
it seems
crossed
like for an
out, so-
hour.
He was in and out so many times, I had him
I was
crossed out.
in and out, my computer wasn't working, thank you. And Supervisor Stafford, I was going to echo some of that same sentiment, but I'm going to ask the county executive yes and no. I want yes and no answers. So, number one, did this get talked about and supported in the IDB and ARPA Commission?
Yes.
Did this group participate in a strategic plan where we discovered affordable housing is a priority in Winnebago County on March 1st, 2025?
Yes.
Did Winnebago County receive overwhelming support for this from the Village of Winneconne, the City of Menasha, the City of Neenah, the City of Amro?
Yes.
And finally, did Supervisor Albrecht move back to Winnebago County to escape hurricanes from Florida?
Yes.
Okay, I yield my time. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Fari.
Just an observation based on the comments and specifically the executive's comments. It's obviously that this program is geared toward incorporated municipalities. They have the infrastructure to promote the development of these housing projects. And it kind of dovetails my comment with Supervisor Cox. You mentioned maybe they'll have to use ag land. That's what happens when incorporated municipalities expand, and it's called annexation. That ag land happens to be in the towns. That's the land that's producing the food that we eat. So I would suggest that promoting annexation or even suggesting that that is the route it would go, I would prefer they simply redid perhaps old homes or something, redevelopment within the cities, because expanding into the towns for the growth of economic development deters your food producing production. Just a comment.
Noted. Supervisor Kristen Miller. Pardon?
It's for Supervisor Hanson.
Okay. Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I thought Dia had fixed my computer, but it keeps throwing me back out. Just a brief statement before I ask a couple of questions. I absolutely commend Lou Scheer for the work that she has done. This is a very comprehensive and detailed packet. I don't question that at all. Not on this topic, but she and I have spent probably several hours on the phone regarding some real concerns of housing inside District 26, and for that I am absolutely appreciative. Now, some specific questions. How does this program either directly or indirectly not put this county board and these funds in the loan, lien, foreclosure, eviction business?
Going back to the presentation I did, the best we can do with the risk mitigation is by going through the channels that the banks and the first mortgage holders will go through. The underwriting will be taken care of. They'll have gone through the cities, the planning, the zoning, all of that is complete. I'm saying that when you do this kind of revolving loan plan, you're shovel ready, and this is the first money in, and it's the last money in and the first money out. It's the best we can do. Can I say we'll never lose a dime? I can't. But I can say we can take every necessary precaution and best judgments and best practices to reduce the mitigation that we can possibly have here.
I do appreciate that, but you just sort of touched on two follow-up questions. In this type of loan program that puts us in probably second or third position, if something happens to the builder in first position or the bank, I can tell you I bet Supervisor Binder could, because of his experience on banking boards, could tell you we would get absolutely crushed. There is no way we're getting in second or third position. That builder's going to walk away with whatever he can keep in his pocket. He is not going to care about anything that we have supplemented. And a revolving loan only continues to revolve if someone is continuing to pay. And I'm concerned hearing the 18-month mark, which is realistic. I understand that, before something starts getting paid back. But if somebody's filing bankruptcy, a builder walks away, it is no longer a revolving loan. That concerns me. What I can tell you, as a builder, I'm going to echo a little bit what Supervisor Patterson said. Supplemental loans, gap loans, that doesn't really attract me as a builder. You might have some interest, but that doesn't attract me as a builder. What attracts me as a builder is what Supervisor Patterson said. What red tape what process are you speeding up for me? Because my risk in what I am carrying until that loan closes and I walk away with my money, that just increases the price of my cost per square foot because of the risk that I assume.
I would absolutely concur with that, and I'll use the Menasha as an example. There are communities that are recognizing that and saying, we're going to start moving back and changing this as much as we can. Those are the communities that are going to step forward. Those are the communities that are going to come back with a great application that says, here's our commitment, here's our match, here's what we're going to do for the community, here's how much we're going to ask to your tax base. Again, every project isn't going to want this money or need this money or be given this money. It's specifically for projects that can show that they can assist workforce housing. That's the preference we're giving it, and that's the judgment we're going to be using. A number of contractors have come forward. They're not building spec houses. People are getting offers on houses before they're built. I happen to be personally intimately involved in the one in Kenosha because my son is going through the process. They're building 5 houses at a time. They have to have signed paperwork by owners prior to digging and starting them. And that's what's happened. Sheboygan, although different, but the workforce housing, those houses were sold before they were finished, each and every one of them. And they're now in their 3rd subdivision. If it doesn't work, you don't move forward. And like I said, when you're building 5 houses at a time, we're not committing financing for 150 houses. We're committing financing for 5 houses at a time. Some of that is going to change how risky that is, in my opinion. We're not putting it out there saying, well, boy, we got the first 100 sold, but we can't sell these last 50. That's not what we're looking at. That's not how this would be designed to be worked. That's not, and when I say, and I understand every one of you has not been as intimately involved in this, there are communities who are giving us the paperwork to start this out, giving us the criteria they're using. They're happy to share with us the projects and the programs they've been working with. So it's not like we're starting with a wheel, a new wheel. We're starting with good information, and we'll pick out what's best for Winnebago County.
I do appreciate that. I really want to find meaningful solutions. I'm not exactly sure I can get on board on this, but reserve. Thank you.
Supervisor Halber. Supervisor Bender.
If we approve this resolution, we're authorizing that $3.5 million. You don't have to come back to this county board for anything after that.
Yep. Let me look at the language. Everybody approves. Shall be responsible for any dispersed. Correct, the way that's written.
And that's where I have the concern, because I don't know what the costs are going to be for the startup. I don't know what the costs are going to be for the operating. So I don't know what the interest rates are going to be. And I also don't like the fact that it's only for new housing. If somebody wants to buy an existing house for $170,000, why wouldn't we give them a loan? That person's going to go to a step up, and then that person might be building the new house. But we could be giving that person that's buying that $140,000 house a loan for 4%. Why do we have to put somebody so far in debt that they got to buy a $300,000 house that he can't afford?
Right, and as I said earlier, you certainly, when this gets on the floor, can wordsmith it and make amendments, because I know some supervisors had even sent some
But I just wanted to make the county board aware, if you approve this tonight, you approve the $3.5 million, you may never see this again. The money, they'll have it, they can spend it however they want, just like with the 980 housing.
No, the money will be stayed with the county until a loan is written down.
But we will never know who the nonprofit is, what the costs are, until you hire somebody and tell us the cost. We'll have no say in that. If the costs come in at $500,000, you take it out of the $3.5 million. We will not have to approve that. You have the $3.5 million to do this project as you see fit.
And to answer to the other question, many communities have rehab dollars. They're at 0% deferred until you no longer own the home. So there's not necessarily that the county would want to get into that program. And to me, that's risky. That's even the more risky if you want to get repaid on that.
Right, as long as you hold the first mortgage, you're the first one paid back. Usually the first mortgage holder gets paid back, it's the second and third that don't get a dime.
And rehab loans would be second and third.
Supervisor Powers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to support this resolution because I think that the county executive and Ms. Scheer have really worked hard on this. Are there problems with it that you can point to? Yes. Can anything ever be perfect? I don't think so. Just like the woman who said, why can't, what if the elevator at Parkview has another broken part? Well, okay, there can always be things that can happen. We can't look forward to this, but I think you have put as much time and energy and stopgaps into this to make it affordable or to make it do what you want to do. We know we have an issue with affordable housing for middle management, secretaries, baristas, the people who have decent jobs but not enough to buy a home. And so for middle management kind of people, we really do need to invest in housing, and I'm planning to vote for this, even though it's not perfect. It's the best we have right now, and I trust you to put stopgaps in place. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the questions we have.
Yeah, just want to thank, Swan.
Oops.
My button isn't working. I just wanted to ask one quick
Okay,
question.
Supervisor Swan.
Thank you. Lou, I heard in your presentation mention of oversight, or that you would be presenting every 6 months. Was that true? Who will you be presenting to, and how will that work?
On the screen, it would indicate to the board here, to the IDB, and to the ARPA, as long as it's in play.
I wrote an amendment that would actually codify that, but I put it as 1 year. I didn't realize you were going to come every 6 months. Is that something, we'll talk about that.
I think the 6 month, especially in the beginning, is important, that you understand where we're at with when the first applications are made, how many we're getting. I think that's statistical information you're going to want to know right up front.
I could easily change my language to 6 months and just present it, and we'll see what happens. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Supervisor Gilbertson? Oh, you had your hand. I thought you were. All right. No one now. I see. You? Anyone else? Okay, not hearing any. I'm going to let him go ahead and do his appointments, and then we'll take our break.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to appoint Supervisor Andy Buck to the Fox Valley Workforce Development Board. And then
We don't have a motion or a second. We just heard, we got to have a motion and a second on that. So did he. So holler your names out if you would, please. Got it now? Okay, we got it now. Okay.
For the Winnebago County Housing Authority, I'd like to nominate Tina Hafman. I had to pull Chris Larson, who's on your papers. There was a conflict of interest. So for tonight, I'm just nominating Tina Hafman for a spot on the County Housing Authority.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. Huh? We'll go back to him.
Okay, for the Winnebago County Solid Waste Management Board, nominate Jeremy Thull.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried.
For the Winnebago County Aging and Disability Resource Center Commission, I nominate Elizabeth Jones and Supervisor James Ponzer.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. And then we did not vote, or I didn't call for a vote for Supervisor Andy Buck for the Fox Valley Workforce Development Board. There was a motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay, we'll take a 10-minute
Oh, I have
break.
one more.
Oh, it must be on the other page then. Oh, okay.
For the Local Emergency Planning Committee, I nominate the appointment of Christopher Lutzen from Pierce Manufacturing, Stephanie Spence from Aurora Medical Center, and then the reappointments of Tim Eichmann, Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, Robert Damel, the Winnebago County Highway Commissioner, C.J. Weddle, the Oshkosh Fire Department, Winnebago County Hazmat Response Team.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed say nay. Okay. I was looking for your name, but I did see it. Go ahead.
Time I've been ringing in, my computer's frozen up, so I'll just put my hand in the air.
You're not alone on that. I think some of that ARPA money, we better get our
Yeah,
computers
we got it.
fixed.
I don't know, with the elevator and the computers in this room.
Executive Hens, is there a supervisor that is on that emergency planning committee? Okay,
Doug.
and I would ask why we aren't utilizing someone who had experience in this in the military as an officer and planning and on emergencies. Just saying you have that experience here and able to use, and I know he's expressed interest in that before. And I know, Tim, you didn't ask me to toot your horn on this, but I know the experience that you have, and I just think that's something that we're missing on that committee.
Noted.
It's been noted. So we did vote on all those that were mentioned, and it passed. And at this time, we'll take a 10-minute break.
The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly. The Winnebago County Board is currently in a break. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. This is GovTV, opening accessibility and understanding of local government, helping you to be informed and involved. Also streaming live and on demand at oshkoshmedia.org and radio simulcast on Oshkosh FM 101.9. Like us on Facebook at our Oshkosh Media page. For a schedule of all GovTV programming, visit our website at oshkoshmedia.org. Please stay with us. Coverage will resume shortly.
General obligation promises notes to the public. Purpose of paying the cost of 2025 and 2026 capital improvement. I'm going to have Justin come up now. He's got to go clear back to Milwaukee yet tonight, so I'm going to let him come up. Supervisor Cox, did you want to introduce him? You're the chair of that committee.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Justin Fisher, since I have been part of PNF, has come up and served us exceedingly well over the years. And we have the lucky chance to buy the notes at a reduced rate, even so. And he's going to tell you about this. He's ready and with a smile on his face. So thank you very much, Justin.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'll make this as quick as possible, but it'll be very good news to share today, so thank you. So Baird conducted the sale this morning and had an excellent result. I handed out a presentation packet that you should have in front of you. Yep, it's got the Baird front cover. So real quick here, the description of the financing. To reiterate, it is a general obligation promissory note in the amount of $28 million. This financing will close December 9th, 2025, with maturities April 1, 2026 to 2035. First interest being April 1, 2026, and callable October 1, 2032, or any date thereafter. So essentially on that particular day, you can look at refinancing or pay it off. Moody's did affirm the AA1 bond credit rating, so that's the second highest bond credit rating you can receive, which is an excellent rating. Very, very happy with that. Myself, Paul, Jamie, we all participate on this call, go through the financials, go through the long-term financing plan, answer a bunch of their questions, and then they ultimately assign a rating. And it was great that they continue to see that the county's doing such a great job from the financial side. The final rate that we received was a 3.15%. So very, very happy, very pleased with that result. We had projected the 3.75% again last month, not knowing what was going to happen in the bond marketplace. So receiving the 3.15%, by getting that lower interest rate, it essentially equates to about $815,000 in less debt service costs because of the better interest rate. So was very pleased with receiving that. We also had some good local bank participation with Nicolay and U.S. Bank participating in the sale and purchasing some of the maturities as well. So it was a great result for the county. Page 3 of the presentation, this is just an update of the long-term financing plan that I went through at the last board meeting, ultimately putting in the final interest rate. We continue to be on track. We're going to have a 1 cent reduction to the debt service mill rate for next year. And basically looking at the long-term plan, by getting the lower interest rate, getting the less debt service costs, it sets you up even nicer for future being able to fund additional capital projects as you pay down debt. So this is just an update for you to see from what I presented last time. The last several pages, this is the Moody's rating report. This highlights exactly what Moody's is looking at when they go to evaluate the county and ultimately assign the bond credit rating. So they kind of noted the growing local economy, the low leverage with the low amount of debt you have on the books, and strong reserves. Some of the credit challenges, resident income, and owning the senior living facility as some of the challenges. But you continue to do everything in your power, like we've talked about, to put you in a great position to continue receiving such a great rating, bond credit rating, which allows us to go out and issue the debt and be able to receive such a strong interest rate when we do this. So very happy with the result, and if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. AA1.
We should get this put on the floor first, and then we can ask questions. Motion is made and seconded to approve Resolution 070211-2025. Now we can ask questions. Supervisor Hanson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Fisher and Director Kaiser. I just have a favor for a future board. If in bonding this kind of dollars and for the 2 years or whatever, may I please ask that there's a formal submission request for a special orders meeting on something like this, so we don't have the confusion and the conflict that we did last time. I kind of felt like we were put over a barrel to make a really quick decision. I think that would be for future boards, though, because I'm not anticipating another bond coming forward before April. Thank you.
Any other questions? We'll do a roll call vote on this, being that. Yes, who did second that? Right back there. Well, there's hardly no questions. I'm just going to go ahead and call. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Nay. One nay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, drive safely. Heading to Milwaukee. All right, my county board's chair's report. Excused is Supervisor Harrison. He's not feeling well again, so keep him in your prayers. And also, I just wanted to remind you all again, which the clerks have already reminded you, that you should get in if you're going to go to the Christmas party, or if you're not, please get that in so they know for sure. Like I said, there's we can only hold so many, and so please let them know one way or another. Other than that, I'm going to move right on with this. Before I go to consent agenda, I believe Corporation Council has something on consent agenda here.
Thank you, Chair Egan. Regarding ordinance 0203-11-2025, which is amending Chapter 5.08 of the Winnebago County General Code, Supervisor Hintz was kind enough to point out a typo on line 55. The committee voted, used the word his, but the word should be there to be consistent with the rest of the amended ordinance. So I would just ask for the board's approval to that. So on line 55, his should be replaced with their. Is that correct, Supervisor Hintz? Okay. So that was, and just to refresh everybody's recollection, for a consent agenda, if you have questions, it does not mean that the item needs to be pulled. If there is a vote that requires more than a majority, it does not require that the item be pulled. I know we talked about this during a little review session a few months ago, but I just thought I'd refresh your recollection.
But they can ask you questions, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, consent agenda. I had somebody say they were on to pull something, but maybe they don't want to now. Okay. No, we're going to do it this way. No, you ain't got to, but that's your wish. It's just like she said, you don't have to. Okay, so number 5 and number 6 is being pulled. Anyone else? Supervisor Patterson.
I don't want to pull an item, I just want to ask a question on one, which
Okay.
we can do that, right?
Right. Mary Ann?
Okay, and I lost my place on the ordinance here, but, it's in reference to item number 15.
That's 5.0, okay, that's the, just give me a minute. That is the Office of Medical Examiner?
Correct.
Yeah.
No, so, it talks about unclaimed remains, and that there's a possibility that, if the family does not want to claim their remains, that there is a possibility that the county could go at and find out if there's any assets available.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't say who does that. Who actually does that, is my question. You're not expecting the examiner to do that, I'm assuming, but whose responsibility is it?
Well, actually, I would think their office would. That never came up during the Judiciary and Public Safety Committee discussion, but it's a good point. I don't know if any of the members of Judiciary and Public Safety have any thoughts concerning that.
Supervisor Stafford?
So don't take this for a fact, but it was about a year ago that I had a conversation about this specific thing with the medical examiner, and they were doing that. That department was going after trying to find the owners of remains as well as compensation. So that department was trying to investigate that, to my recollection.
Okay.
But don't, again, I'm not saying that for fact.
Just thought I'd ask. Appreciate it.
Not seeing or hearing anyone, oops, Supervisor Matko.
Just a quick question on 194,
I'm sorry, which one?
0194, the Multi-State Information Sharing Analyst Center.
Yes.
It says that the federal government is no longer funding this, and so we're going to pay for it ourselves. It also says in here that all our local cities and towns and villages also won't have this funding anymore. Are we helping to cover their funding? Or are they on their own?
I don't believe we are, but perhaps Vice Chair Farmy could respond, because this came out of legislative.
I certainly will, but I pulled it. The appropriate time was to ask the question would be when it's on the floor.
Okay.
Anyone else?
Okay, that's fine.
Not hearing or seeing any. All those other than 5 and 6 in the consent calendar, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. We'll go to number 5, Resolution 0193-11-2025, supporting the renewal of the Knowles Nilsson Stewardship Fund. Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of my resolution 0193.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Passed. Number 6, Resolution 0194-11-2025, support Wisconsin establishing a membership with the Multi-State Information Sharing the Analysis Center of MSIS-AC to cover the cost of membership for the state, local, tribal, and territorial SLT organizations. Vice Chairman Fari.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of resolution 0194.
Motion made and seconded. I do believe we have a question.
In response, I believe your question was what the funding issue. We got a report from the Director of IT that currently Winnebago County pays for this program to participate in it. They're trying to get the legislature to approve where they would provide this service and the state would pay for it, as opposed to individual municipalities. The problem is if we pay for ours and Outagamie County decides they don't want to do it, it can somewhat jeopardize and overlap into this county without that protection. That was her reasoning, as I recall. Does that answer your question?
Do we protect the other municipalities in the county?
Well,
Or-
yes, if they utilize it, but it's primarily, I think, for county functions, right? And local governments use it also? That would be more like town, cities.
Yeah, yeah, it's written up that the towns and cities use it also.
Yeah, apparently so. That's what we were told.
So if we buy into this, then we protect the towns and villages and
Yeah,
cities.
it's kind of like a cooperative type
Right.
thing. We're all using the same system to get this protection.
Okay.
And where the concern is that one municipality or two or three might decide not to budget for this and cover it, then there's a void there. So they're asking the legislature to pick up the cost to provide that service through.
Right. Yeah, and if
That's
they,
my understanding.
yeah, and if the state decides not to, we're gonna pay our share.
Well, if you decide not to, we'll be back
and-
there.
yeah.
I assume it's already in the budget. So they're really talking about next year's budget.
Okay.
Thanks for your question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Carried. All right, resolution number 0204-11-2025, approved $3,500,000 for the accrued interest earned on the spirit funds to partially fund a revolving loan program to expedite housing development in Winnebago County. Supervisor Buck. Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Supervisor Hanson.
Yet, previously, Corporation Council was talking about some of the resolutions, and I sadly think we've just entered a legal landmine area. To start, we can't really compare other counties because Winnebago County chose to do a spirit fund. And then the resolution that Corporation Council was referencing, we divided into two separate buckets, and that was the government projects and the that are requested by county departments, and then the ones for the partner agencies. However, if we're looking at what was passed by this board, Resolution 046-10-2024, and I went back and I listened to the meeting. Lines 34 through 37 were amended by Vice Chairman Fari, and then a friendly amendment was accepted by Mr. Fari by Kobe Schellinger. The line reads, "Be it further resolved that all interest accrued in the Spirit Fund be allocated to the county government project category." There is no interest to draw from. This previous board voted to put all of the interest into the government project category. The government project category can't send money to a nonprofit because that was the community project. We closed the community project and moved everything into the government project. I think we've just entered a legal landmine area.
Supervisor Buck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Supervisor Buck.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to kind of go along the lines of Supervisor Hanson on the, I offered amendment at some of the ARPA commissions about a clawback provisions on some of the things that we were doing. Would that be applicable to this, or Mary Ann?
Yeah, and not only that, again, I didn't actually hear the actual lines that Supervisor Hanson was talking about, but I'm looking at something that said all interest accrued on spirit funds before the enactment shall be transferred, all interest accrued on the ARPA, SL, FRF funds before enactment of this resolution shall also be transferred to the spirit fund. So I'm not as concerned as you are, and I'm reading what I'm looking at differently. But in terms of the clawback, we have
if we're looking at Resolution 046-10-2024, we closed the one category and moved that plus the interest into the other category. This resolution before us is saying we're going to take $3.5 million from the interest. We can't do that because we transferred the interest into the government project category.
And I would defer to the finance director because I think he addressed this earlier, Supervisor Hanson.
I addressed what the framework said it was, not addressing the transfer of the interest to the government, but it's just it's the Spirit Fund.
Right.
The Spirit Fund was in interest of the ARPA funds to do what I read before of the 4 points. Whether you're allocating the interest or appropriating the interest, or you're appropriating the money from the Spirit funds, that is still up to the county board and how they want to do that. I don't think there's a legal argument, but I'm going to default that back to the Corp Council that we would not get into a legal problem, because it is a fund that is still being appropriated by the county board.
Yeah. And what the,
One, community projects, which this would have qualified for. The other is government-identified projects. If you look at the previous minutes and notes in the item agenda reports from John Damel, the government-identified projects are things requested by county departments. We closed the community project one and the interest and moved it completely to the government project category.
Okay.
I don't think we can do this. This is what I brought up at the very first Spirit Fund meeting when I said, based on what we have put forward, this board and the previous board voted on to make a Spirit Fund, divide it into two, close the one, and move everything into the government project. I don't think we can do this.
and I would be listening to what the finance director said. I'm also looking at some of my notes that talk about the fact that Winnebago County spent all of the ARPA funds for wages and benefits. This cleared money to be used in whatever way Winnebago County wanted the money appropriated. And then with the Spirit Fund, it talked about listing projects used to improve the quality of life within the county for years, and an overarching requirement was the well-being of citizens to ensure we can recruit and maintain our workforce as a component to consider. Also, the whole idea of the Spirit Fund was to allow for greater flexibility. So I think that that is not a concern.
I don't dispute what you said. The concern is the exact language of Resolution 046. It says, be it further resolved that all interest accrued in the Spirit Fund, that was then amended in a friendly amendment by former Supervisor Schellinger, did a friendly amendment, and it struck all of the rest of the language. So it says, all interest accrued in the Spirit Fund be allocated to the county government project category. Now go back and look how we defined county government project category. This is, what we're doing is asking for this to be a community project. We closed it. Resolution 46 closed the community project category.
Yeah, but
I understand the strategic plan, but what this board passed was closing the community project one. And
Okay, this started at IDB, which is part of the county. So the starting point of this was IDB granting $1 million, and now is asking the ARPA Strategies and Outcome Commission to put in another 3.5. So based on your argument, IDB is part of the top category of Winnebago County. So it started with Winnebago County.
no, go back and look at the definitions that we have in the Spirit Fund. It is to be requested by a county, like the Highway Department, the Sheriff's Department. That's what we put it forward to. We're transferring it to something that is going to a nonprofit and other people. We can't do it based on what we've passed. I'm sorry? Yeah, it's 046, 10/20/24, and it was signed by John Damel October 18th. It was signed October 18th, 2024. In fact, the vote on that was 34 to pass this, and 1 no, which was Supervisor Buck, when I went back and listened to the meeting. If you look at what, we set these up into a communities pocket, that's where all of the nonprofits went into, and we sent money to, and then we did the other 50%, and I can pull back to the resolution that did the two different buckets. If you look at like I said at the Spirit Fund meeting, if you look at what this previous board has passed, We can't do this. This one is specifically saying interest. We closed the interest and moved it into another bucket.
I'm looking at a resolution that says all interest shall be transferred to the Spirit Fund and spent in the same manner.
Is that 046?
No, this is 167.
150, what was the date? Because I think,
Well, it's signed April 5th, 2023. And this was the one that was amended a number of times.
so April of 2023?
That's when John Damel signed it.
Okay, well, look at 046-10-2024. John Damel signed October 18th, 2024. We took all of the interest and closed the community project, which at that time had 152,000, and moved it to the government.
I don't have that. Let me see what I can find out, but based on what I'm seeing. Colby, can I move this thing? I don't.
Okay, I got one input on this with, I hear the interest is the problem, but the top part of the 50% was also projects to be identified by the county executive. So whether you want to change that word of interest to the Spirit Fund category of county government projects, that would be somebody to put that on the floor or a friendly amendment to do that accordingly, to take the interest wording out of it, and then I don't think there'd be a problem, but that's just my opinion.
I'm sorry, what?
Well,
what did you-
I thank you for the opinion. However, when you go back and look at the resolutions, and let me quickly pull it, it was the one that I did the point of order and gave to Corporation Council, where we did the two different buckets.
Right, but how is,
And then go back and look, even on our website right now, if you pull up the Spirit Fund website, it tells you the community projects for the nonprofits and the government identified projects, which is to be requested by like the Highway Department, the Sheriff's Department, the Parks Department.
yeah,
Put it forward, it's a county government project.
right.
Paul explained, it's what I explained, it's what Lou explained. This is part of the government. This is a government county project. It fits the strategic plan outlined by the county board to achieve the county government purpose.
I understand the strategic plan. However, look at the language that we have passed.
Well, I'm looking at the
This
language
resolution also
that talks
specifically
about
says interest. There is no interest. It's all in the one project.
all interest accrued in Spirit Fund be allocated to county government project category. This is a project that is basically helping with housing in the county.
Which
How could that not be a county
resolution are you
government?
reading? Because I have them in front of me. Which resolution are you reading?
46.
Okay, I've got 46. Which line are you looking at? Because I'm looking at line 34. Be it further resolved that
That's what I'm looking at.
all interest accrued in the Spirit Fund be, and then line 35, be allocated to county government project category.
Correct.
Now-
And how can you say that this housing would not fall within a county government project?
No,
I'm asking.
Go back and look at the past, this is what I emailed both the executive and the corporation council, and you guys never got back to me. So now
I
we
never
have to do it
received-
live on the floor.
I'm sorry, I never received any email from you.
You did.
When did you send it?
The very first time when I brought this up at the Spirit Fund meeting, I copied Chairman Egan because he was co-chair, and I sent it to you in the county executive say, and I included a copy of the resolutions in the email. And I said, I don't think we can do this.
Okay. Are we talking about something that was months ago?
Well, yeah, this is the very first time when Spirit Fund brought this forward. My public comment said, based on what what this board and the previous board has passed. We can't do this.
And what I'm looking at right now here, I disagree with you.
I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna say I think you're wrong because the language is very clear. The language on the resolution that is in front of us right now says 3.5 million of the accrued interest earned on spirit funds.
Right.
There is no accrued interest earned in spirit funds because it's all been transferred to the one bucket. These resolutions are in conflict, and with that, I am going to make a motion then to indefinitely postpone until this gets cleaned up.
Mr. Chairman, I think I'll rise to a point of order. It's right in here somewhere. Well, first of all, let me rise to a point of order. We're talking about amending that was your comment. The Spirit Fund Commission voted on this, and we used the language, we thought we were taking the interest money. That's what the Spirit Fund voted on. If that is improper and incorrect, the Spirit Commission, ARPA Commission, needs to go back and correct this. So I certainly accept that motion, but if that does not carry, I'll move to send it back to committee or the ARPA Commission for a lot of corrections. So, in other words, we start with these ARPA Commission. They're the ones that approved this and send it forward. Obviously, we approved it incorrectly. It needs to go back to that body for correction. Otherwise, some of us might have voted differently, right? That's how that works out. Just my comments, sir.
Well, if I could, clearly there is confusion because looking at the resolution that Supervisor Hanson talks about in terms of 046, it's talking about all interest accrued in Spirit Fund be allocated to the county government project. How can housing for the county not be deemed a county government project? If there's confusion, then maybe there needs to be a...
Point of order, I'm so sorry, really, point of order, we have two motions. We have to figure out what's going on, and you're addressing something.
No, I understand, okay. So Supervisor Hanson moved to indefinitely postpone, but did Supervisor Binder second it before Supervisor Hanson?
You did, yes.
Okay, all right, so then you have to take that up.
That's why I said to him what.
Okay.
Can we clarify what indefinitely postpone means?
It means to
Oh.
kill it.
That'll kill it.
On the amendment, so you can't come back until April.
Yes.
After the election.
On the amendment.
There is no amendment.
There was a motion in a second. To kill it, yeah.
Indefinitely
To
postpone.
definitely postpone, yeah.
That's on the motion on the floor. Okay. So I will not be voting for this. I do not want to kill it till April. I like how it is. I do have a different motion, but this is just on this motion, and I suggest people don't vote for it.
You can't amend motions to postpone indefinitely. No one can. No one can, right.
On killing it indefinitely, no, I'm not in favor of that, and I wouldn't suggest that we kick the can down till April when we've been discussing this since, I don't know, 2-3 years. I think that's irresponsible of this body to do that, so I will not be supporting that. Thank you.
Supervisor Hanson, I'm sure we know how you feel. Supervisor Welch has informed us, unless you have anything else to say. No. Supervisor O'Brien? Supervisor Elber? Supervisor Pacetto?
Urge everybody, and I respect my colleague a great deal. I do disagree because, as our finance director mentioned, this originated from the planning and zoning through the IDB. We had been discussing this for quite some time. And all the work that Lou has put into this effort is a county-wide effort. How that cannot be deemed a county project is beyond me. I do understand that, yes, it's going to be happening in multiple communities, but collectively, it's a county project. And so I do believe that it does belong in here, and it's, in my view, fine to take it out of the interest that's been earned. So regarding the motion that's on the floor right now, I would urge everybody to vote against it. Thank you.
Supervisor Dowling?
Yes. I have a lot of reservations about this. However, I'm not sure postponing it indefinitely is the right move. I wish it would be sent back to committee.
Supervisor Fari, you have your opinion already. Supervisor Patterson?
I didn't chime in, so I don't know how my name got on.
And Supervisor Stafford?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just two quick things. First is, I think I think we have to go back to the previous session in terms of what the definitions were. And I remember the conversations, so I do have to agree from my recollection that when we said county projects, we couched that in a conversation of county-specific projects, like we talked about specifically about highway and the buildings and things collapsing and things having to weld together and right? Yeah. And so I think we have to be very clear, language matters, definitions matter, so I think we really should go back to there. But really the question I have is, I want to clarify Supervisor Hanson's motion. Is he intending to delay this until next term or just until they can figure out these things? Was that the intention?
You say indefinitely, go until next term, or? You said two different things. You said
Well,
definitely, and then you said until it gets cleared up.
And that's what I'm trying to understand.
well, do you know what then? Since it was my motion, do I need to ask if if you look at the notes from John Damel from March, I believe it's March 9th of 2024. I've got everything in front of me. Give me 1 second. The problem is the definitions that this previous county board has passed. The reason we did the community projects and we sent the money to all of the different nonprofits, and then we did the government projects, which was to fix basically the infrastructure problems. That's what this past county board has done. The fundamental problem with the resolution in front of us is it's specifically calling for interest funds. We transferred the interest funds into the government project one. This money is not going. Well, I am answering the question on the reason that I made the particular motion. Now I just lost my train of thought.
Yes or no? Is it definitely, or is it?
That was the original intent, yes.
Okay, all right, so we want to know. Thank you. So this is indefinitely. That means if this passes, it cannot be brought back up until after the election in April. Any other questions?
I just want to say, when I seconded it, I didn't know Chuck was going to make a motion to send it back to committee. So I basically probably will vote no on tabling it indefinitely. I think Supervisor Hanson's correct. I don't think we can do this, but it'd give time for everybody to sort out all the issues, because we don't have enough information. I would never vote for this the way it's set up right now, but
Just withdraw your second.
I'll withdraw my second.
Well, then, point of order, Mr. Chairman, I will then withdraw my motion for an indefinite postponement and refer it back to committee.
That I'll second.
So the first motion is withdrawn. So no indefinite, now it's go back to committee. So. Supervisor Lofton.
Please don't send it back to committee, because I'm afraid that committee wants to kill the multifamily housing and apartments.
All I'm gonna say is committee was voted, I believe, 6-1 on the budget.
It was.
What was?
The vote was 6-1 to 2, something like 6-1. I think they have a second.
I second it.
Supervisor Pacetto, did you have your hand up?
I was just going to call the question.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Passes, 2 nays. Question.
Now the question is.
The motion was to send it back to committee. All those in favor of sending it back to machine signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Nay. Well, we'll do it by machine. I think I know which way it went. Majority of the things is back.
Tom, or is it your turn to chair government? So you can call me.
Supervisor Ranky?
I voted, no. I hit the whole safe thing.
So you said no? No?
You know, I like the old way of doing it.
Don said no.
We'd have had little clickers, you know. And they always work.
Supervisor Hancock Cook? It didn't come through. Supervisor Stafford?
I voted yes.
Supervisor Bender?
Supervisor Bender?
Supervisor Swan?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilbertson?
She'll call on you, Morris, in a minute.
Supervisor Bach?
Supervisor Buck?
Supervisor Cox?
That's me.
Is it a yes? What do you, Supervisor Egan? What? It passed. It's majority, correct? Okay, yeah, it passed.
Passed.
I don't know if it's gonna come up there. I don't know what's going on. 25 to 9.
25 to 9 it passed.
That's correct. We'll take it up December, hopefully. 25 to 9. Yes.
In December, I'm sure I'll be getting together for county executives. Resolution 0205, 11/2025, amend Winnebago County Rule 24.8, Parent 4, Supervisor Bender.
I'll make a motion to move 0205/11/2025. Just cleaning up the language. We had an issue at Personnel Finance where we approved, we have a $300,000 contingency fund, and we can approve up to $40,000. And what happened, we approved $40,000 in 2024, and when the bids came in for the consultant, they were 27,000 higher. So then they wanted us to approve another 27,000, and I said that I believed it was 40,000 per project, not per year. So what this is doing is cleaning up the language so that it is 40,000 per project, not per year. If you wanted us to approve projects for $80,000, that's what you'd give us for a limit. You gave us a $40,000 limit, and that limit is for one project. If it takes 1 or 2 years, it's still $40,000.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Carried. Ordinance 06/11/2025, motion to amend ordinance 0191-10/2025, adopting chapter 27 Winnebago County Shoreline zoning ordinance by modifying the effective date of the ordinance to April 1st, 2026. Supervisor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to approve Resolution 0206/11/2025.
The reason Supervisor Miller and I went ahead and, first off, I got to congratulate Supervisor Miller. He really went out and he did a lot of work and he got that passed. But the November 21st, when some of the townships, and it was including ours also, but some of it didn't come out. There's no way we could get it all done and put together by November 21st. So along with the Corporation Council, and then we also called the RIF, Andy Phillips, I should say, Andy Phillips, and got his feelings on it and that, so it was impartial and all that, and that's why we done it. And Supervisor Miller had some very good ideas to come with, but listening to Supervisor Riff there, he just didn't figure that you could go ahead and have like 2 different ordinances or whatever at one time. There couldn't be any grandfathering in, or so like say Town of Armorough, Town of Winchester, and Town of Oshkosh, they supposedly have got theirs done. Well, they couldn't come in on the 21st and the rest couldn't because that'd be 2 different ordinances in. So he recommended that we didn't, and that's why Mr. Miller and I come to this agreement, and we both went out scratching our heads and shaking our heads, but I think it was for the best, and hopefully you'll all stand, and those of you that got it done, hopefully you'll give us the time for those of us that don't, and I appreciate that. So hopefully you'll support this.
Oh, disregard. Disregard. No, that was-
Second, Connors.